Welcome everyone to Monday Madness with tonight's guests, Kevin Gillette and Dustin Brunel. We got one more coming, but wait. We got just a ton of things to talk about tonight. It's gonna be bouncing all over the place. We got announcements, we got surprises, we got
I like surprises.
some future plans, and just a whole bunch of good stuff. I'm gonna let you guys go ahead and introduce yourself. Everybody knows who I am, Pops Van Zant of the Madness. Yes. So to this guy over here, what's up? That guy over there.
What's going on, Pops? Everybody knows me. I'm Dustin Brunel. I recently published my first book, The Listener. I actually got Pops's copy, right chair, looking smooth. Covered by Adam Fields, man, a good buddy of mine. So I'm excited about that book coming out. We're actually going to start selling copies of that this weekend. So anybody that pre-ordered or backed us has gotten their digital copies, and their physical books will be in the mail here in the next couple of days.
Nice.
Oh, excellent. I got people asking me questions right now about what we do.
No.
Just watch. You'll find out what we do.
Oh man,
it's
we do a
all
lot
coming.
of stuff.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna tell them we are live right now.
Please feel free to ask questions.
Exactly.
We
Throw
are
them
live.
out there. Stay tuned.
We are live right now. That's White Box Gaming. White Box Gaming hit me up earlier and asked me if I wanted to check out their game when it comes out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Check it out.
You
Well,
know,
I actually also I own half of Cowabunga Comics along with Kyle Willis. Check us out at cowabungacomics.com. There you can find all your fun listener stuff. We're shortly going to be putting all our links up so you can purchase your stuff, T-shirts, whatever, and what have you. And I'm also doing a really fun project here shortly. I'll let Kevin get into that in a little bit, but below me is Mr. Kevin. He's with NSC, which is awesome. You guys got to check NSC Live out.
Appreciate it. We few of you guys know me. I run NSC Live TV, which is a network that actually gets the word out there, right? And we help creators and artists and writers and shops all just get the message out there, get their name known, get their listeners built up, expand their viewership. We also run Inked Marketing, which also Inked Marketing takes care of Kickstarters. They do full-fledged advertising for, again, artists and creators as well. And we'll kind of get into a little bit later, but we're starting to kind of do some more things. We've been more behind the scenes the last few years. We're coming up on 3 years now. And now we're starting to kind of step out of that. We're kind of being drug out of that, so to speak. And Dustin and I will kind of jump into that a little bit later, but we don't want to get in the way of what's going on with CromCon. So we want kind of Pops to give you the skinny on that one.
I got to throw this out there. That's my sister-in-law right there, Terry, out in Phoenix. How you doing, sis? Peace. I think it's the first time family's ever watched one of my shows, man. So,
cool.
And this totally.
Oh, yeah, sir. Hey, man.
Man, Icktis is a good dude, man. If you guys don't know Icktis, you need to check him out too, because he writes some pretty funny stuff. So
I love that dude, man. He's like the artistic version of Danny Morales when it comes to the enthusiasm.
Right, for sure.
Him and Phil. Him and Phil both are the reason that drug me and Dustin and Pops all into this. So there'll be some blame placed later, but we'll catch that later.
Blame is not always bad, though.
No, it's not.
I just want everybody to know I'm feeling positively Lannister tonight.
Oh man.
Yeah, I'm just feeling a little Lannister. So
okay. I'm feeling a little Santa Claus. I got the gray beard going, and I've got the Santa kind of colors going, which match the NSC colors. So it's a good mix.
So first thing I want to do is I personally want to announce that CromCon is now a part of NSC Live TV, and we have a channel there, and Madness has a channel there, and doing a little expanding, a little reach grabbing. We're looking for a longer reach, for you guys,
Yep.
What's up, Jay? What's up?
Hey, there's one of my buddies.
Yeah, you are too, bro. You are too. You got nothing but good words for everybody, man.
That's Josh Bauer from we'll talk a little bit about that here in a second. But Josh runs a podcast. He's an artist as well. Been doing some great stuff. Been keeping up with him for the last year. So we'll talk about some of the things he's doing here a little bit later in the show.
Sweet.
It's CromCon. We set up the sign up sheet the other day. It's booked, baby. It's booked. There are
Man,
no.
when is it not booked though? CromCon is always booked, man. Get out of here. Like it's a surprise. Like day one, you're like, hey, I got some extra slots. Day two, you're like, I don't have any extra slots.
Yeah, their slots are gone. And we're talking 5 days, we're talking 2 days, 5 countries worth of people, and over 40 creators. So it's jammed up this time. It's packed. It's
absolutely
at the seams.
But it's funny because it's like I told Kevin, I said, we get down to about 10 spots left. You watch. They're gonna go ping, 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 ping.
Yep.
I was signing people up at 1:30 in the morning the other night. I even posted about it. I'm either crazy or I really love you guys a lot. I'm still out here at 1:30 in the morning trying to book this show.
And I'm bugging him going, hey, this guy wants a spot. This guy wants a spot. Hey, this guy wants a spot.
There you go.
Y'all are silly. Hey, speaking of Florida, I'll be in town this weekend coming up, doing a small show and a book signing. So
Where at?
1904 in Jags. So I'll be there. I may not be there very long because I got the whole family in tow. So I'm just coming in to take some artists their books and stuff, get some books signed, get a couple books for Pops signed while I'm there. So I got a lot going on. It's going to be a real short weekend for me. But if you guys can make it to the 904, I'll sign your books for free. We'll BS for a little bit, maybe have a drink.
We do have a lot of Florida people in the group.
Yeah, I will certainly be there. I know Kyle will be there. So even after I've left, you'll be able to get Cowabunga swag and you'll be able to buy the listener copies that are there. I will be bringing some store exclusives as well as a couple 1-on-100s. So that should be pretty exciting. And there's a bunch of vendors that are going to be there. So make sure you guys show up if you want some cool stuff. I know that's a bunch of local folks that are putting that together. So it'll be fun. And some live music too.
It's okay to drop names.
Man, look, I didn't put it together. All I know is there's a bunch of cool cats that are going to be there. I mean,
we don't mind promotion,
That's okay, for sure, absolutely. If I knew him, I would name drop. But Kyle did a lot of that. I've been working so hard on the listener that he's been a blessing as well as an amazing business partner and handling most of that stuff. So I've been able to put all my time into this book. So I'm very thankful.
So, like I said, CromCon is going to be wild. But like I said, we're expanding the platform. We hooked up with Kevin and what he's got going on. He brought a whole bunch more new people to the con. So hopefully that'll mean more new fan bases bouncing off each other, which is what we're trying to do.
Absolutely.
When I first checked out what Kevin was doing, I was like, man, he's doing what I want to do, but he's doing it like to the 10th power compared to what I got going on. I mean, he's got way more viewership. He's got, way more people that are throwing their their stores in and stuff. We have a few comic stores that are part of the madness, but I'd love if there was more, more retailers that were looking at what the indie people are doing and maybe involved in that. I'd love that. And so, it all just, it's all one big, huge thing underneath one big circle tank.
It is, and that was the whole essence of why we created it 3 years ago. And I created from the standpoint, I'm a collector as well. My wife's a collector, so we wanted one centralized location for everybody to come to be able to see artists, creators, buy comics, see interviews, see podcasts. One central spot to land to do that. We're not saying we're the first to do it. First is a big word. I mean, there's other people out there that go, "Oh, we're the first. Nobody else is doing this." Okay, we've been doing this 3 years. There's other people that's come ahead of us. There's people that's come behind us. There's room for everybody.
That's right.
So, that's the way we are about it. We have several sister networks that I'll talk about here in a second that we partnership with, and I'll go through a few of those. I kind of jotted down some names that I want to kind of throw out some thank yous here. Once we get through some CromCon things, I want to kind of talk about some things. So, yeah.
I got probably about 8 months ago, I got slapped down real quick when I said something to the effect of, I don't see anybody else doing this. And somebody like rather been doing it for a while, Rob Anderson was like, yo, dude. Put me in check right away. He put me in check right away though. He's like, yo, dude, yeah, you're not the only one doing this. I've been doing this for about 5 years. And I was like,
for sure. And then Pops muted himself.
background music,
You're good. So I do have something cool to say that I'm going to bring up before we get any further into this. We had a cool thing happen the other day, and I mentioned it live last week. I think that we have a shop that has purchased a cover from us, which was exciting to me because my book has not even hit the shelf yet. So to have somebody be that into it is awesome. So I'm going to say this to anybody that's paying attention. If you go and you sign up with nsclivetv.com, I guarantee you, if you want a cover, I'll get you a cover done. Now, that's not to say that it's free. You still have to purchase it. But we don't give covers away to everybody. So if you go to NSC and you contact Kevin and you say, hey, I want a listener cover, we'll get an artist to do a listener cover. It's going to be about $400, but that'll be your personal cover for your store.
Nice.
And I'm not offering that in any other platform. So if you reach out to Kevin and he's like, hey, look, I've got some input for you, let him know. And then you'll be one of the few to have your first cover. So it's a very exciting thing to go in a store and for you to be able to look, you can only buy my cover at my store.
Mm-hmm.
For the unique experience. I know I've done it with my own brick and mortar. So
and that's not a bad price for a cover.
Sir.
That's a good price.
So $400 gets you your own cover, and the only way to get it is to go through nsclivetv.com, or if you go through Pops Van Zant, we'll consider that too because he's a member of nsclivetv.com.
Much appreciated.
That's absolutely.
See, hey, all this is blowing up on me right now. Kevin knows. I told him, I was like, man, I thought this was going to happen once before, and it didn't. And it's like now I feel like maybe that was meant to end up that way. And I hope them people get on board with us too, because it's supposed to be a rising ship with everybody on it.
Comics are meant to be fun, man. That's our philosophy.
It's supposed to be a rising ship with everybody on it, man. I mean, hey, I'm not trying to get everybody to love me. I'm trying to promote people's books. It's two different things. It's like I want you guys to be successful. If that doesn't tell you where I'm at, I don't know what to say.
We've talked about fans, man. We've spoken about that before, you and I. And fans are what make this business.
Yep.
We can talk about speculation market. We can talk about flippers. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but fans make this market. And I've talked about it myself from personal experience to anybody that has had a moment, when you're putting out a new product, doesn't matter what kind of product it is. Okay. You're putting out a new product, you're trying to do, self-starters, Kickstarters, whatever else you're using. And you have a few days where you're not making any, you're not getting any backers. You're not getting any funds. That day, when you wake up and there's a legitimate fan that has messaged you, it can change your whole outlook on your day.
Mm-hmm.
It'll change your whole day around. There's been days when oh man, absolutely, man, for sure. Well, fans are important, bro, all day long. There was a minute when I was real worried about the content I was going to put out. I was worried that people wouldn't be receptive or people wouldn't understand the content I put out. And then I started getting feedback from people, and it blew my mind. It was like, keep going, keep pushing, and it changes your outlook, because it's not a cheap thing to do a comic book. And here shortly, I'm actually going to do a video guide to my entire experience for people that are interested in doing something like that. But it's not cheap. So you invest all your money into this, and you invest all this money into this project. And then one day you wake up and you have the doldrums. And it doesn't just have it putting out a book, or a product. I opened a comic shop, brick and mortar, and there was the first week that I had low sales. I was terrified. I was absolutely horrified. I was like, oh my gosh, how are we paying bills? How are we doing this? How are we doing that? And then like Sunday, we had like an $800 day. And I was just like, holy crap. You know what I mean? And there is the light at the end of that tunnel. And fans can get you there. I promise you. If you're an artist, you're a writer, anybody, if you've got a group of people that's faithful to you and behind you, my wife's my biggest fan. Absolutely. In this whole world, my wife is my biggest fan. Aside from my kids, my wife is. And if I didn't have her, I'm very thankful. I wouldn't be where I am. So you find that fan and you latch onto the energy. I'm not saying you become like a succubus or anything like that, but you latch on to the energy they're putting in your direction. You know what I mean? They're giving you that energy, that chi, that key, whatever you want to call it.
That's what I get from Danny Morales. He gives me all that young enthusiasm, and then I come out here and I go, yeah,
absolutely.
I'm 57 years old.
You gotta have.
I know what you mean, because we wouldn't be doing the stuff that we're doing for all you guys if my wife wasn't the way she is about things, and that is the fire that drives you, and that is the pulse behind you. And it's like you said, it's that phone call you get, or that message, or that you get from someone. The key moments have been for me lately has been that, we're going to go through it. We're going to talk about it because everybody's talking about COVID. It's still here. It's not going away. Well, when it first hit, we had several shops that we deal with that were doing a couple of lives a week. Say, hey, look, we had to shut our doors. The brick and mortars had to say, look, we don't have walk-in traffic. Can we do more shows? And now some of these people they're doing so many shows, and some of these states still have their doors closed. They're doing more revenue in their store with their doors closed and the lights on than they ever did with the doors open.
Absolutely.
And they're saying, sending messages and making phone calls and saying, hey, look, thank you for doing this, because we would be under right now if we didn't have an outlet like you guys to be able to do this. So those are the kind of moments like you're talking about when a fan messages out of nowhere, or a store messages out of nowhere, or you see a Kickstarter that we've done for someone just go through the roof, and they go, wow, now we're doing what we've always wanted to do. Those are the moments that I tend to gravitate towards.
Well, I mean, you have a very welcoming demeanor about yourself as well. So showing, acceptance to someone, even to be able to drop a little bit of knowledge, you know what I'm saying? Just a little bit of knowledge. Because there's all these times when we go through life, and I told you, my sister, a perfect example. Just yesterday, I was talking to my sister about taxes. Okay. She's never had her own business before. And she's like, hey, how do I claim? What do I claim? What should I do? That philosophy goes everywhere in life. A lot of people, their Kickstarters don't do as well as they should because they don't know how to promote themselves, which is NSC Live TV in itself. You know what I'm saying? That is, help people, promote people, push people, because all you're doing is you're giving people the strength and the power to stand on their own 2 feet. It's like a therapist, right? You get injured. You have a hard time walking. You know what I'm saying? Now we're teaching people to walk. We're showing people that this is what you can accomplish by doing this, this, or this. Had people went, hey, look, you could do all this without doing everything I did to get around to where I got to eventually, I'd have probably been like, man, I really appreciate you showing me how to do that. Thank you so very much. And it's been a complete learning experience. So I can imagine people that haven't had a background and then coming in with no background at all, with an idea or a dream, or a thought, and needing just that, like, it's like a plant, you got to water it and you got to feed it just a little bit. Exactly. Don't overfeed it. We're not overwatering it. You're not stepping on people's toes. It's an assistance, which is very awesome in itself, Well,
and I think that also comes from my background is marketing. I've been, as I tell people, I jokingly say, like we talked about in the last show, I've been freelancing since I was 16 professionally. And then my mom pushes it all the way. There's Phil.
I'm late. All
right, Slacker.
The mad hair. No time to say hello, goodbye. I'm late.
So I always tell people that, my mom pushes it back even further. She said, like I told you the story before, she was saying that I was in elementary school going and drawing werewolves and then going to the library and Xeroxing them for 25 cents and selling them for 50. So, I guess the entrepreneurship and the key word that J.W. Pomacher coined a year ago was he calls it an entrepreneur, is what he calls what I do for NSC, entrepreneur. I thought that was a cool word that he came up with. So that being said, all the stuff with marketing is doing exactly what you just said, giving those people a way to stand up and a way to market their product. So, and I did it for big names, Sprint PCS, casinos, banks, hospitals, nationwide chains. So what I basically have done is taken that kind of knowledge for 30 years of that and brought it to a business that we love. And I guess that's where the passion plugs into it. I'm just something I'm passionate about, which is the comic related industry.
Absolutely.
Something I'm passionate about. So now I'm able to give back to that and say, okay, here's how you become this. Here's how you transcend from the market that you're in. Here's how you move into the next market. Here's how you grow that bowl, right? Here's how you grow that circle of people in your market. And this is how to get there. This is how to transition. So,
well, you and I talk about nuclear radiation a little bit, and it's like, passion is what radiates.
right.
Passion fuels what we do. If I'm writing something and I'm not passionate about it, you can tell.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You always know. I'm sure if Phil is drawing something and he's not passionate about it, you can certainly tell as well. But if I'm not mistaken, Phil's part of NSC Live TV as well, right?
Yes.
There you go.
Phil's in the artist alley over there, and he's tearing it up.
There you go. Digging it. So, Phil, what are you up to today?
Eating dinner before I have a sugar dropout.
Well, I know you got a lot of projects going on, so I didn't know.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, a lot of back and forth going on with some people since I'm on weird schedules. A lot of everybody knows that. I was on late doing a live cast, and then I had to do some other things. And Kevin knows how it goes because, boy, does he burn midnight oil, too.
He
man.
does burn midnight oil, doesn't he? 1 o'clock in the morning, he's like, hey, what do you think? And I'm like, is that man sleep?
1 o'clock, we're talking like 3 or 4.
Yeah, me and Phil were up the other night pretty late. We both figured out we're vampires, but I don't ever dive into religious talks or politics or anything. I stay away from them. The only thing I'll kind of touch upon real quick is I kind of picked at Phil about this the other day. I said, with the photo he's got up right now, it's got like this stained glass look, right?
Yeah.
It's like this orb. It's like it's this cool kind of thing he's got going on over there with between the hair and the stained glass looking thing. I was like, come on, man.
Like he should be playing on Black Sabbath. I'm down.
It's just got a vibe to it, man. It's got a vibe.
I've already been accused of being related to that guy.
I have played in Black Sabbath, and I have been accused of being related to that guy.
That's pretty awesome. That's going to be a drunken conversation I can't wait to hear one of these days.
Oh, I got lots of band stories, man.
That's awesome, man. Well, speaking of working on things, we literally just did 2 more pages for the listener book too. So we're at page 13 right now. So we're really excited about that. Sleep is for quitters.
Exactly, John. Josh knows. Josh and I have talks. He burns it too.
I have a 2-year-old and a 10-year-old going on 30. So sleep is like, if I can get to it, because it's like, so Eric lives in New Zealand, so there's a 7-hour difference.
Mm-hmm.
So if he and I are actually trying to get work done, it's after my kids are in bed at 9 o'clock. You know what I mean? And that's only 2 o'clock for him. So it's like we're going to start the work day at 2 for him, and I'm hitting the bed at 12, 1 o'clock. And then he'll be like, he'll send me stuff after that, and I'm just like,
trust me, I feel it because we have international Kickstarters going. So there's people we're talking to in Australia. We're dealing, over in Europe. We've got some stuff going on over there, and so we're jumping time zones all the time. I kind of always have to tell people, okay, what time zone am I in?
Let me know.
Where are you at?
Let me know before I sound silly when I start talking. I'm with you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I do the same thing with one of my UK buddies. It's like, okay, well, on this schedule right now, I guess I'm gonna catch you right before I crash out and just as you're getting up.
That's right. But at least at that point, you're wide awake and you have all the intel to drop. You know what I mean? It's not like you're the guy that's just waking up, because if you're the guy just waking up, you're kind of like groggy, looking at your phone and the updates and stuff.
Well, and I've got a cousin that lives over in the Philippines, and they're so far ahead as time. I always kind of message them, okay, what kind of day is it? Because if it's not a good day, I'm not getting out of bed. So you let me know what kind of day we got coming, and I'll kind of judge it from there.
Absolutely. Man, so we got all this cool stuff going on at NSCLiveTV.com. We got CromCon coming up. We've got Phil working on all kinds of shenanigans. My book drops on Friday. So, I mean, everybody is doing some really cool stuff.
We got what other little tidbit thing we're going to announce after kind of Pop fills in on some high points at CromCon. Then we're going to kind of pop the can on something else that kind of was born out of a CromCon, born out of a Madden panel. So
I like irradiated cans. They make superheroes, man. Spider-Man, the Hulk. You know,
it's amazing because a lot of things. I mean, Danny Morales will go out there and tell you after every CromCon, there's a new indie book going up on his shelf in his store, or it's like there's always something positive that comes out of what I do. And even if it's just one thing and I spend all weekend in this chair, it's freaking worth it.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Danny. Danny is the man. Dan the man.
He is, man. That dude is, he is something else. He has the enthusiasm, and passion for putting the indie books on the store shelf. And the kind of passion that when he acquired a job in the comic store, he made sure that he ended up getting that dream to come true. And they got a wall in their store now that's dedicated to indie comics.
The wall of indie.
A lot of people out of Madness, and that's where they found him, or that's where he found them.
I love that, man. We used to do.
Good comes out of every CromCon. It's worth the 24 hours I spend sitting in this chair over the weekend. You're
doing God's work, my friend.
Well, I'm just doing what I think is right. I mean, when the tables, when y'all couldn't get to your table, okay? Like Adam's a friend of mine, okay? I know Adam probably had some money invested in some tables last summer that he didn't get to go set up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the last thing I was going to do is go, yo, Adam, I'm going to set up a Tron and you can come, give me some money and I'll put your table up for you. No. The whole point was these guys already lost.
That's
I'm
right.
trying to help them get some back.
Everybody lost. It's been bad. We talked about Corona and we've talked about it a lot lately because it's very prevalent to us in this business. I mean, we didn't do a single show this year. Like a single show. And for those of you that that don't do that kind of thing for a living, or don't go to shows to flip books or sell books or buy books, whatever, it's almost like missing a limb. You know what I mean? It's literally like the most fun thing you get to do a year has been like taken away from you, and it may not even be the most fun thing. It may be the most profitable thing you do in a year, and it was taken. I mean, and it's just been, it's rough, man, to try to recoup money like that when you're used to making, $2,200-$2,300 a show after cost. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's a month's bills for people,
One of the things I'm really looking forward to with CromCon this time is so many new artists. People that Kevin brought in, people that just found out now that I'm like way more prominent in a couple other platforms or whatever. It's like a word gets out a little more, and some more people come in. There's a good third of the show this time is totally new people that have not been to CromCon before.
How cool is that though?
Usually we get a good 25% are new each time, and we always have return people, which gives me confidence that I'm doing something right. People come back.
Absolutely.
If it wasn't helping, then they wouldn't come back.
For sure. I don't know. I have a lot of fun with it. You know what I mean? Since you haven't brought me on, I got a lot of fun with it. So.
But now I'm really looking forward to this having an expanded viewership. I'm really looking forward to being able to get out of here. Look, when I first started this, like the first people I met that had a bigger audience that I could tap off, that allowed me to tap off it, was Indie Bowl. Varian and Randy and those guys, they were cool. They brought me on their show, let me talk about CromCon. They bring me on, they let me talk about Mojo when we had the Mojo campaign going. Everything, they were just so cool. And I was like, yeah, these guys get it, and their followers or whatever, their audience has grown and grown and grown. And it's like I've got to be like alongside them, I've got to grab on to a little bit of that viewership, and some of them people have become.
there's been others along the way. Everybody's been cool and helpful along the way. We've met people, and yeah, definitely cool.
I think it was like Captain Planet, right? So Captain Planet had all the rings. Each person had a ring, and they had to put the rings together to make Captain Planet. You know what I mean? So I love that. I dig that people can assist each other. You know, when all your rings combine, comics do well. You know what I'm saying? It's good, man. It's a good thing.
Basically, what I was doing was segue into the fact that they're bringing their crew to PromCon for the Saturday night panel.
Oh yeah.
At 10 o'clock. So it won't just be one or two. We get to talk with all of them. You know, I mean, hopefully they're bringing the whole crew. I know that they gave me the thumbs up when I suggested it to them. When I invited them, I said we want you guys to come out to our show, and they were down. I was like, right on, you know, because I like giving back. And you know, it's like
plus it just grows the community. Like I've said, we're stronger together, man. I mean, I know everybody's got their own ideas on things or how they're running stuff, but when we all get together, oh my God, the things we can do.
Well, and yeah, and I'm going to talk about that for a second. When we talk about sister networks, and I use that term a lot, and I use the word family a lot, and we talk about combining things, I'm going to throw some names out there of people along the way that have been a part of it, and they're still a part of it, and we all do things and all move forward together. And part of that is HWWS Web TV. You know, they're a big part of it. We start off a lot of things together back in the day. That's GW Palmature. You'll see Josh's show is on there. Josh's show is on there. It's on our network. We trade shows back and forth. You know, do a lot of co-branding and help each other. And then there is the ESO, which is Earth Station One Network. That's another sister network that we do a lot with. You know, that's Mike Faber and the gang over there. And then, of course, you know, all the stuff that we do here. And then I'm starting to find out more about IndieBook, which I love everything I found out so far. I'm anxious to hear how that panel goes. You know, Geek Insider, they do a lot for the group. And these are all people, like I said, that a lot of these people have trailblazed. You know, the other one I want to mention is Comics News with Rob Anderson. And these people all blaze the trail for getting the word out there about indie books. And I always go back to the fact that that's how I started was indie books, right? Was the fact that, you know, that's the first thing I picked up off the shelf when I was a kid, you know, was Comico. Justice Machine Comico was the first book I picked off the shelf. Justice Machine number 2 from Comico. I still have the book. I picked it up in a 7-Eleven when I was a kid, you know, and I always paint the picture of, you know, you're at 7-Eleven, you get a Slurpee, you're playing a video game, there's a karate video game going. You smell the Clorox of the 7-Eleven, right, because they're still trying to mop up everything. All those memories, you know, you rode your bike over there. It's kind of like the movie Stranger Things or the series. You have that whole kind of feel to it, and it's something that's ingrained in you. And then we didn't have comic shops back in the day, right? We had to go somewhere. You had to go. I remember going when I visited my dad had several surgeries, back surgeries growing up. I remember going to the hospital and going to the gift shop, man. It was fun to go to the gift shop because the gift shop had comics. There wasn't comic book stores. You went to 7-Eleven because they had comics. You were excited.
Spinner rack.
Yeah, the spinner rack
days. Mine was garage sales.
Yep.
Oh, man,
Getting drug along to garage sales and going, Mom, Dad.
Yeah. 25-cent books and stuff at garage sales.
Now see, well, like the spinner rack thing, I always go back to the fact that I guess the more eclectic, I guess is the best word I can pull for it. I tended to get with my collecting was I started to go for stuff that was back out in the wild, like I initially found it, you know. Because, like you said, we were talking about this the other day. Stuff's jammed in the spinner rack, and you're thumbing through it, and you're just causing just all kind of spine damage.
Last month stuff crammed on top of this.
Oh man,
stuff and, yeah.
And you know, books come just unprotected, you know. But when they come to a shop, right, it's like they're encased, right, and they're shoved in a box. I mean, we all do it as collectors. I mean, there's a book that I got signed by Peter David when I was 18. It didn't see the light of day for, you know, almost 30 years. I'm fixing to be 48. So it was coming up on its anniversary of being literally 30 years in a cardboard box, never seeing the light of day. And I just pulled it out the other day.
The day when you're kids, man, and that didn't matter, man.
No, it didn't.
To add your stuff, you'd fold that up, put it in your back pocket, take it over to show your buddy, all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm writing a piece right now. I started getting really into writing about a year ago. Again, I used to write a lot, and I kind of got away from it, and I'm getting back into it. But one of the things I'm writing up right now is, and I'm going to release it here shortly, is about what I call loved books like what you're talking about, versus maybe not unloved books? Or what is your version of love, right? Is it protecting it, or is it going through it?
Right.
Because I have two Captain America books I purposely bought this way. I found the first one that was the loved book, I call it. I mean, it's got the kid's name on it, and I've tried to find him on Facebook, but it's got the kid's name on it. He's drawn on it. He's done all kind of, he's done things with it. He's folded it in half. I'm sure in his back pocket he's riding a bike. You can picture all these things. And then I've got the one that's pristine right beside it. Same book, same everything, right? One is probably a 9, it's above a 9.0 easily. And then here's this other one that might be hanging on to a 2.5, 3 on a good day. I mean, it's the same thing, but one's lived life, right? One's been out there and been out in the wild, and one's been kind of hidden and tucked away, and So I just find that kind of interesting, and I'm gonna kind of give a take on that here shortly.
Oh, there was always the days when you had to buy one. You had to buy one for the collection and one for the junior to play with. See, it's like my son. I buy him saying he wanted it. Well, I want it for the collection, but he wanted to play with it.
And then you have,
I mean, that's the way.
and then you have people like Tobias, that those ones that get just a little bit of life in them. He still brings more life in them, even though you're not going to get the big rating on it. But he's brought new life into it by this works good. This page is still good. We can do stuff with this.
Tobias Protocol. Do you know about him, Kevin?
That name sounds familiar.
Super cool stuff.
We're going to get him hooked up in here too. He's
okay.
on CromCon, and he's going. Yeah. Okay.
So my business partner, what he does with old books, like we used to get books. We'd buy 1,000 books a week, and that wasn't in an order. That was just books that are coming in. 1,000 to 1,500 books a week, and people would bring in beat books. They'd bring in loved books, but more beat than loved. You know what I mean? And we donate books that I wouldn't sell. I have a very high standard for what kind of book I sell. It's a very different thing to what I collect. But what I sell, I have a high standard for, and Cowabunga is known for the standard of book we sell. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, we've got this like box of books, and Kyle comes into the shop. That's how I met him. He was actually coming in and out of my shop, and he takes this box of books. I give it to him, and he starts tearing pages out of it and makes these amazing collages and paints on these collages, which is absolutely phenomenal because it brings life to old books that nobody wanted. You know what I mean? And he's just bringing them back and putting them in the public eye.
It's amazing when people repurpose stuff like that. There's like a couple instances I can think of. One of them was back when I was living in Georgia, I guess probably 3 or 4 years ago. I travel around the country for my day gig, so to speak. Oh. And at this particular flea market, I used to go do a lot of flea market stuff. And it was interesting to see this young, passionate artist. What he would do is he'd take cigar boxes, and he had all these cigar boxes lined up. And he's like, okay, well, you pick what cigar box you want, and you pick up what kind of theme you want. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man, Iron Man, Ghost Rider. What is your groove, right? You pick that out, and then you can either bring him a book, or he had like a stash of books like that, like you're talking about. And then he would do stuff inside these really ornate cigar boxes.
Awesome.
And the inside was all layered with comics, and it was great.
Absolutely.
And then for Hooked on Comics, one of the shows that we deal with that's on the network, his wife builds these amazing shadow boxes, and everybody's, oh my god, that's like an Iron Man 55, what have you done? But it was like one that maybe the cover was ripped off, and it had like a stain across it and watermarks, but she was taking the 2 or 3 good pages out of it and made this really phenomenal piece.
See, I love that. Like one of our covers for the listener is actually painted on a newspaper from the day after Pearl Harbor. And repurposing things like that and bringing them into comic books brings history, in my opinion. It brings life back to an old book, and anything like that. It's very, very cool to see with a human mind, because my mind doesn't go there. You know what I mean? So the people that do have that kind of imagination and take it places, is very, very cool. The human, our ability to create is just unbelievable.
It's fact. That's why the industry right now, or the industry. There you go. I just created a new label. The industry.
Industry.
is blowing up right now.
Well, look at film, right? A lot of these movies that people watch that they really enjoy, they don't realize they're indie comics.
Right.
I mean, look at The Mask. I mean,
Yeah.
holy cow, when The Mask came out, it was huge. Jim Carrey just blowing it off, bigger than the screen itself. And people are like, The Mask was a comic book?
Yeah.
I always do that with people. It's like
the movie, right?
It's like Bulletproof Monk. That was a book.
Absolutely.
So many. What was the one? The Golden Circle one. The two series movie that just came out.
There are so many.
The Walking Dead.
The
Yeah.
Walking Dead were a comic book first.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's so cool to see. But then there are books that are movies that did better when they came to indie comic books. Okay, look at Alien. Alien blew up like nobody's business in the 80s and early 90s.
Oh, yeah, that was dark horse all the way.
All day long. Predator 2. I mean, the Predator came with it. Then we got AVP, which brought life back into films. They may not be people's favorite, representations, but they've still brought it back into the film industry. We got a whole new series just because of that. And now, because of that, and because of Fox's relation with Dark Horse and keeping it alive, I hate what's happened recently in Alien comic books with Marvel. How an artist that will not be named borrowed some artwork from another artist, and they're trying to figure it out right now. But they're bringing a brand new story out. We're getting a brand new Aliens book from Marvel already, and they just got the stuff a couple months back. It's exciting.
Well, I think too. We all probably tend to look at the movies a little bit differently because we've read the storylines. So, when it comes out there and then, Tony Stark, grabs the and puts everything on, snaps his fingers, and everybody goes, "Oh my God!" Well, yeah, that happened like a couple of years ago. We've all read about this before, right? Things with Spider-Man, same kind of thing. It brought on a new set of fans. It brought on a whole new generation to it. The Superman stuff. Everybody goes, wait a minute, God, the last Superman movie, that's like 4 or 5 different storylines all jammed together. Where in the world did, and then of course Aquaman just kind of springs out in the last 15 seconds, and you're like, what was that? That was what?
It's a very powerful thing that it's coming with limelight and comic books and the media right now. The past 10 years for comic books and television have been insane.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did because I'm a fan, like a diehard fan. We'll go back to the fan thing. I'm a diehard fan of Eddie Brock, like a diehard fan. Before Venom became anything at all,
yep.
I'm sitting here looking for every single book I can get in every store I go to and have 4 and 5 copies of every book that he's been in.
See, it was the same way with Iron Man before. Now Iron Man's the thing, right? That was the
Absolutely.
same way. And it's what I enjoy about it is from a fan standpoint is the fact that there's more swag out there that you can get because all these movies got popular. So now you can walk in Hobby Lobby, right? And here's a whole, on the 50% off day when they do the decor, as they call it,
right.
There it is, man. And you're picking up whatever superhero you love. That stuff wasn't around years ago.
Well, I mean, when we talk about that, like in marketing as well, look at Disney right now. We love Star Wars, okay? We all love Star Wars. I don't care what anybody says. They love Star Wars. Star Wars has been around forever. So when it was like George Lucas had Star Wars, he did his thing. He brought it back out again, and it was great when we saw it again because I didn't see it when I was young originally in the theater because it was past my time. You know what I'm saying? Right. But then when they remastered it, when they remastered it, I did get to see it in the theater, and I really enjoyed all the films I got to see, And after that, it became a thing with me and my daughter. Every Star Wars movie that was in the theater, I took her to see from when she was knee high, And I'm thankful to Disney for allowing us to get more Star Wars. You know what I mean? It's a really cool thing, and people joke about comic books and Star Wars and how they don't coincide right now. Well, look at Ahsoka Tano.
Or Star Trek. Pull that screen up, Pops.
And
by the way, let's take a minute, man. Tell everybody, thanks, Ichthus, for showing up. And Terry, we're in the comments. Got to see them.
We already showed them, dude. You missed
and
that.
Joe, I seen that. You rock, man. I love y'all, man.
Phil,
yeah.
We did show all them. Terry's my sister-in-law, bro.
Okay. And Joe had to say hey to Joe.
Yeah, I did. And he said, "What? Joe, are you using F words?
Oh no.
Are you really dropping F
Oh,
words?"
he said, catch me outside. Oh, man. So I used to be that guy, okay? I promise you. I swear to God. I was in the boat because I've been reading Star Wars novels since I was a kid.
Yeah, okay, so you're an EU guy.
Yeah, I'm still a new guy because I'm only 35.
No, I said
so.
EU guy.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Original. Extended Universe was my jam,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
When they decided, I mean, I was so into it. And then when we killed Chewbacca because he was saving Anakin, I was so into it.
Yes,
I
yes.
loved it so much. And it was such a way to take Chewie out. He'd been around for so long, so epic.
Okay, so when Han gets killed in the damn movie, I stood up and I said, Chewbacca's dead! Long live Han! I couldn't help it. I was like, you guys were in the movie. Yeah.
I mean, you know, and I was in that boat.
But that was, I'm sure I leaned to my son and I went, I can't believe they did that. You know, I mean, I can't believe they did. And Han is not good. You know?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I love the extended universe. It's my favorite, but I'm thankful. You know, I'm not. The new movies aren't my favorite, but I'm thankful that they're there and they exist because I get to spend time with my daughter.
This is my trip. They're bringing all the good characters from the EU. They're bringing Rogue Squadron.
Oh my God.
Thrawn. Now hold up. You can't bring Thrawn without Mara Jade, and you can't bring Mara Jade without marrying her to Luke Skywalker because that's
right
in the EU. Okay. They kind of like now they're trying to bring all the good characters over, but why did you screw it up? Why didn't you just make those movies in the first
Man,
time?
all you got to do is do what they did with episode 1, 2, and 3. You know, just throw them in there after the fact.
Oh, I've heard they're going to do a whole reboot. I've heard they're going to do a reboot. You know, I mean, and that would be perfect because we need Ben Skywalker. We need Ben Skywalker.
I need the twins, man. I don't care what anybody says.
Yeah, Anakin and the twins.
You know, Jaina, I need to see the twins, man. The twins need to throw down at the end of it. Jaina and Jason, that's the epitome of my Star Wars. Let me see it. You know,
that's what I'm saying.
Here I am. I'm diverting. So back to CromCon. I'm real sorry about that. I love Star Wars. We could Star Wars all day. You know, and I'll bring. I tell you what. You know what we need to do? We need to bring Joe. Me, you, and Joe Pops need to have a conversation live about Star Wars one day, and it'll be a good time. And we can do it on the NSC Live TV.
I think there's a show we can talk about in a second where we might just be able to pull that off.
The shenanigans ensued.
The shenanigans have started.
I just like I say, we know this thing is bigger than it. You know what's going on here is bigger than what any of us envision. You know, I mean, what you got going on is like I said, what I'm doing to the 10th power. You know,
it's taken a life of its own, and there's a lot of people involved in it. It's bigger. It's way bigger than me. It started with 5 channels, and it's over 150 now, and it's growing. And there's some stuff myself and Brandon, my mad scientist IT guy, I call him, are doing that. It's going to be even bigger. I mean, there's some. I'm not going to throw out some numbers, but there's a certain amount of channels that are going to populate here in the next 60 days. It will blow the roof off of things. It's unbelievable. Like I said, we've been testing it for about 90 days now. Running through all the different things. Brandon's got a master's degree in information architecture kind of thing. I mean, his stuff is all about engineering, you know, in a digital space. You know, he's got a master's degree in computer science. So, and then I've been programming computers since I was 10. So we really jam on the fact that all this end user is what we think about. How to get from point A to point B, how to get them there a certain way, how to make it the best experience possible. And then Mike's doing some stuff with us from ESO. Because Mike deals with user experience, right? Mike deals with how the end user goes through a space. So they've got a lot of cool stuff going on. Yeah, that's the top 50 comic shops. What we kind of zoomed through just now is the top 50 comic shops in the U.S. are what are in place right there. We've been building a digital database of all 2,100 shops in the United States. These are from 2 different sources. We overlap the sources and double checked everything. These are the top 50 that are out there. Okay, so you go to any of these shops, you're going to get some good books, and a lot of times, most channels we have bought from ourselves. We test their customer service, we test their shipping. If there's a problem, if they say it's a 7.0, when I get it in, is it a 7.0 or is it a 6? All those kind of things that we tend to go to as a customer. Um, so that's all in there. Again, you can jump to podcast, you can jump to, and I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to make everything about what we got going on. I really want to kind of really focus on what's coming up with CromCon, because we want to be able to do this same sort of thing
See, this
for
kind
all
of
the
is
different 40 plus creators that are coming on.
This kind of is one of the things going on with CromCon. I'm letting these people know that we're trying to get them to a bigger audience. Your platform, okay? And that's part of it. I want everybody to understand this is exactly what I want, and I want everybody to come into this. Like you said, with more channels for comic stores, more channels for podcasters, all of it. Keep
Well,
making
what,
it bigger
what
and
we
bigger.
want to do is one of the announcements I want to make with that is we're going to open back up the artist alley. Right, it's been shut down. We've been having a certain number of locked in channels. We have the ability now to open the gates back up and let channels come on. And since I'm an artist, I'm extending out an invite to any other creator, any other artist out there. Creator, we have a writers row for writers, we have a creators corner for creators, and we have artist alley. I'm opening up all three of those sections again. Bring your channels on. Okay, we're not charging for those channels to come on. There's no, that's the gates are opened up for that right now. So you drop me a message, come to NSC Live TV, ask how to get a channel, we'll get you hooked up. Okay, we're opening up those three sections right now to give everybody a wider audience. So we can talk about other kind of ways to do some other kind of PR and get your name out there, but that's the main way to get in the door, is to get that channel, get locked in, and get your space. Right, it's a digital space. Um, we're also working on some things I'll kind of throw out there about a digital mall. We started that about a year ago. We're actually building in virtually a space. Imagine going to a mall that everything in the mall is comics. Okay, a 3-story mall that's virtual that you can go into. That's something we're working with. We're also working with a VR company right now, a virtual reality company, about taking us into virtual space. In other words, we had some meetings the other day. Some really positive things are coming forth. Knock on wood. If everything's go well with that, when cons come back, we'll be able to give that virtual con experience.
Back that up again. Back that up a little, Phil. Right there, Fanfare. That's local to me, right there.
Yep. And we dropped everybody on there where they're at. Colorado, Las Vegas, Richmond, Washington. There's my local store now, which is Adventures Underground. Then they were honestly, they were on both sites. They were voted as a top site. My old stomping grounds is Mile High Comics.
Forbidden Planet, man.
Yeah, I was very fortunate, and I went to Coastal Comics here when I went to South Carolina here a couple of weeks ago. So I've been to that shop. I went and did basically some quality customer service, quality kind of checks to see how their store was. I was there, so I did it. That's one of the things I do when I travel is I find the comic book shops and go dive in and see what they're about. Mile High Comics, like I said, is on there. Mile High Comics, I was spoiled, for 2 years straight. It was like every 2 weeks for 2 years, they were my local comic shop. So
I'm pretty jealous of that. That's pretty dope.
You just, it's unbelievable. Chuck's a real good, great humanitarian. We've become really good friends. He just does for the community, man. He just does. Kevin Smith jokingly referred to him as comic book Jesus, which is great. If you go Google the Mile High experience from Kevin Smith, you can hear all about it. You can see behind the scenes. You can tour the store. But what gets me is you walk up to this store, right, and it's I think 60,000 square feet, and you see this red door, right, and you go, okay, and you're in kind of a warehouse district. There's 18-wheelers driving by and people loading stuff on trucks. You're like, did I come to the right place? Is this, what is this? So you go up the set of steps, one single set of steps. You open one single door, and then it's their hallway. You can either shoot up and go to Chuck's office up top, and he's got this really cool display of Indian art pottery. And it's amazing. That's what one of his main things he's into. And then if you hook a left, you open up another door, and it just opens up. It's just like going into Carlsbad Caverns. It's just unbelievable. It's huge. And in the open area, there's 275,000 books in what they call the ocean. And I know I counted the long boxes to see how big a space it was. There's 10 million books on site. Okay. And that kind of goes into, like you said, developing relationships and developing networks. And, great person. He's given and done books for, we do a charity. We do Paper Heroes Charity. Paper Heroes Charity gives books to hospitals and orphanages and finds causes and raises money. And he was a part of that. Several shops were part of that. Now, going back to kind of here's a little bit of a segue of how things happen. There's a guy working the desk, black jacket on, long hair, talking comics. I got to know him over time. And one day he hands me a sticker. He goes, "Hey, man." And actually, I got some more because I just got some books in front of him. He's like, "Hey, man." He's like, "Check this out." He said, "I've started a podcast. I'd like you to check it out." And he said, we'll see what happens. Tell me what you think. Checked it out. Liked what he had to do. Immediately put him on as a channel. Immediately started getting space for him for NSC. Started bringing other people to him. He's right up top. It's Brian Wayne right there for Cheers to Comics. And that's the first commercial he made for us. I kept that up there. And, really believed in that young man and said, "Man, you have it together for this business, for podcasting. You have a knack for it. You have a natural charisma. You're knowledgeable. The stack of books you read, you'll see. Tune into one of his shows. He's got a stack of books. It's unreal. He does his pulls, and then he tells you what's going on with the book, storylines, what he thinks is good, bad, what's going on, what's happening. Brings creators on, and then we started just jamming back and forth and talking about stuff. And we both just kept building each other up and expanding each other. He was in the top finalist in the Discovery Podcast Awards. And it's, and we're talking, I'm trying to think how many thousands of entries there were, but he was in the top 10 in his category. So he just blossomed. He's been doing this now, like I said, about the same time as us, about 3 years. And I just talked to him a few minutes ago. And that's one of the people I'd like to reach out and thank for us believing in each other and getting everything to the point that it's at now. Because he'll call me up and say, "Hey, man, there's this creator that has a book coming out right now. You need to go check it out." And vice versa. We'll get somebody that brings us a book, that we're going to do a Kickstarter for them. And I'll say, "Okay, we'll put them on what we call the NSC, the tour." And that is actually basically taking these indie creators and saying, "Okay, we're going to run you through a circuit of tour like if you were a band announcing something about, an album coming out. We're going to put you on the stations, right? We're going to jam. We're going to go bring you around to, you can usually do about 8 to 10 in a Kickstarter cycle. And that gets you new audiences that you've never talked to before, right? You could get up to 200,000 or 300,000 people that you've never talked to before because we put you on 8 to 10 different networks, right? That's why I say sister companies. So, Cheers to Comics is one. Lights Thunder Action is another one. And it's cool to see some of what they're doing take off, because Thomas is wanting to be an inspiring actor, and he got a chance to do that recently. So that's cool to see other people's dreams start to take hold. And then there's Josh with Back Talk to Bauer. Josh is an artist. You can watch him go live, paint, do some things. He's in the circuit. So we actually, when someone comes on, we bring a creator to that show and say, "Hey, look, you guys need to hook up, do an interview, talk about your book." Then it goes on further. They've got a couple others, Thursday night throwdown and Friday night draw. You can actually watch Hasm, bring other creators in, and they sit there and do a draw off, right? And then they have talk about comics and it's just a good time to do. And then I've already mentioned Earth Station 1. We talked about the Hanging with Web show. JW is bringing on guests all the time. It may be about movies, it may be about comics, it may be a writer. It's something that weaves its way into our industry, and it's a great time. Shop Talk is out there now. It's kind of that's Chuck Panu, and Chuck's a great guy. We've done some work with Chuck before. We did one of his most recent Kickstarters, Big Al. So we got a chance to know Chuck. Chuck's done some work with us. Chuck and I have worked together before, or worked around each other, I should say, and got to know each other. Creators Outlet, I'm starting to know them now. They're in CromCon. And so, like I said, Brian Wayne, Chuck, GW, Mike Fiber, Dustin. I'm getting to know Dustin. We're jamming on some things we'll talk about here in a second. Pops, of course. Phil, I'm getting to know Phil. We've talked about Rob. We've talked about, and and then there's Meredith with Geeked, and also there's also Mr. Harris with Geeked as well. So that's another. Those two team up and do a lot of stuff. So you can check out, Geeked Insider and look at some things. But they got some really good things going on. And so, like I said, it's a little bit of everybody. There's the index right now that's up, and we've got the news section. Pop's now got a section in news. We've got the creators corner. There's Haslam I mentioned. Again, cheers to comics. We do a lot of stuff with Brian Silverbach. Brian does. He's with Scout Comics. Second Sight Studios. The Second Sight Studios is going to be. They're in CromCon this year. That's the first time for them. There's Cowabunga Comics. Connor is going to be there. Connor's going to bring the artist for the book with him. They're going to do some cool stuff during the show. You got to check out. Really good book. We're doing their Kickstarter right now. If you go below that, there is the Sisterhood book that just came out, and that's with Richard Boone. Richard's over in the Netherlands, so we've done his books for him. His next book is The Midnight Witch that's fixing to come out, and then there's Maverick Studios. Maverick Studios is Monty Michael Moore. A lot of people know him. We've done 2 Kickstarters for him recently. We did Local Hero with him, which was a blowout, phenomenal book. It really turned some corners for him. We're really happy to see his passion for that, because he's naturally passionate anyway, and he's a Renaissance artist. If you've never checked out Monty Michael Moore, you are missing out. Sculpt, paint, draw, airbrush, does it all. Okay, and it does well at it all. Okay. So yeah, check it out. And he just did Cowboy Christmas. So if you go to Monty Michael Moore's site right now, you can get a lot of really cool. Yellowstone's a big thing right now, right? The show. He's got a bunch of really cool Yellowstone pieces right now. He's got a bunch of cool Ghost Rider pieces. So if you like comic stuff, pop art, Western, sculpture, canvas, drawing, it's all there. So if you want a good Christmas gift, right, for you comic people that you have some other comic people in your life that you want to really gift up, go check out what's going on with Monty Michael Moore and Maverick. I mean, I can't say enough about that. That's great stuff over there. Trust me, it's on my Christmas list too. So I've got some things check marked in my box that I want to get. And then there's Lewis Cruz. Cruz has some great books coming out. Go check him out. I mentioned Haslam already. Haslam has several great books that they always have a hand in. The Bad right there. The Bad is the publisher. Richard Boone. That's the one that does those 2 books at the bottom. So it's really spread out. I mean, if you just kind of took a glance at that, Cheers is in Colorado. Connor's up in Alaska. The artist is across overseas. There's Richard right there in the Netherlands, and then Monty's in Denver. The Silverbox, I want to say, is in Georgia, I believe. Second Sight Studios is Mississippi. So they're all over. They're spread apart. So go check them out. Give them some love. Go check out the stores. Go give them some love. Go see. But it's really, you hit upon something a while ago, Pops. It's really the year for indies right now. Mm-hmm. They're getting more notice than they've gotten in several years, and that's great. That's great to see all that come about, especially when cons got pulled out of the mix. It needed to happen, and we're happy to be able to help make that happen. That's the joy that we have in it.
Dude, and everybody knows I've been having a blast for months since I started doing this. And I've got to meet so many great people, and so many people that I had no idea were all over my collection. It's like sometimes I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be like, oh, and I did this, and I'll be like, hold on, wait, you did what? Hold on. This?
Yep.
I didn't know you did this, and then, now I have a whole new appreciation for it.
Well, you see, if you scroll up real quick, you see, you see, we're hanging out with Flash Gordon himself right there. That's right. And that was on my bucket list. We met Flash in Denver, and Sam Jones is the epitome of Flash. He's one of the nicest people you can meet. He set all this up. Okay, so when we went over there, I brought him a 1980s original Flash movie poster, and he just lit up like a Christmas tree. And he signed it, and he's just staring at it. And I said, "You don't see too many of those?" He's like, "No, man, I honestly don't." And he said, "Well, do you want Melody to sign it?" Which Melody's sitting there beside Melody, my wife. And I said, well, yeah, is she here? And there was people between us, so we couldn't see her booth. He's like, yeah, she's right here. He said, let me take care of that. So he scooped up the poster, walked around behind us, set it in front of Melanie, and said, hey, can you sign this real quick? And she's like, yeah, sure. He said, then once you sign it, let's hop up and let's get some pictures and let's get something. And he just took over. He just Flash Gordoned it up, man. He just took over the whole thing, and we got several pictures, several things signed, and it was just a great time. We met him that day. We met later on that day. We met Neil Adams. Got a chance to sit with Neil and talk shop. That was on my bucket list. But what's interesting is the fact that I could do a quick little story. I'm going down, and I had a limited amount of time to be at the show. A friend of mine kind of scouted the show out before me to kind of let me know where some of the things that we wanted to see, which was great. We're going towards Neil's booth, and I hadn't quite found it. And of course, you're going towards Artist Alley. You know he's going to be there. You know he's going to have something massive. But the show really wasn't laid out. It wasn't explained well, I should say. It wasn't no knock against them. There wasn't a lot of literature that kind of mapped the place out. So we're, and it's like Mardi Gras. It's people elbow to elbow trying to get through there. And here comes a guy with the classic Batman shirt, right? The one we all have had at some point in our life. The solid black shirt with the puff Batman symbol. I was like, if anybody's going to know, pull the kid aside. He's probably, late 20s. And this is 3 years ago. And I said, no, this was 2 years ago, because right before we left Denver. So I said, hey, where's Neil Adams' booth? I'm sure that's probably why you're here. And he went, who?
Oh, no.
I went, dude, you're wearing the shirt. That's Batman. Neil Adams, Mr. Batman, drew the. And I'm trying to connect the dots for him. And I was like, well, have a good day. I appreciate it. Nice meeting you. And just went about and just was like, man, there's people that just don't know who that is. Sure enough, around the corner, there's Neil Adams, right? There's like 2 or 3 people at his booth. I'm like, you know who this is? I was like, another one's Alan Bellman, right? Who know, how many people? I mean, I'm sure you guys all know the name Alan Bellman, but I got to know Alan Bellman, and we traded messages back and forth and talked, and it was, I got a message from him a couple years ago, Happy Father's Day, just out of the blue. Who gets that from those kind of people? And I was really pleased and surprised. He's that way towards everybody, or was. He sadly passed away, as you know, but he's that way towards, or was that way towards everybody. Here's a Butler Brigade story. Stephen Butler was one of the first people I met in the industry. When he came to my local comic book shop, there was Stephen Butler sitting right next to Peter David. This is back before Peter David was Peter David. Okay, so I got the Hulk, the Green Hulk sign when the Hulk becomes a professor, the one everybody wants. I have that signed by Peter David to me when I was about 17, 18 years old. Next to an X Factor that he signed, next to a Silver Sable that was signed by Stephen. So you come full circle, in 30 years later, Stephen and I start talking. He's like, hey, we'd like to be a part of NSC. What? We're one of my inspirations, man. So there's a story in there, and we talk about him being one of my inspirations for NSC. So that's in the news section. But you also saw down there's the part where you see about there's one of the colorists. Cece is one of the colorists for this stuff with
Coffin.
With he does for Coffin. She does for Coffin, and she does a lot of stuff for Monty. 61 is he does the pen and ink work that guy does. You need to go check that out. If you scroll down a little further, you'll see there's Phil's stuff right there. I've got the stained glass looking picture up there for
Who's that guy, man?
Who's that guy? Rusty's going to be in the show. Rusty Gilligan. Rusty is one of the original people that was having to do with heavy metal. So if you want to really get some old cool groove, go check out some of the stuff. I personally, on my wish list that I have coming to me, I have an original heavy metal, the inserts that came out to talk about the movie, right? I have one of those coming to me from him with I've got a remark on it from him coming. So,
let me get out my ninja gear. Where do you live?
He's got a few more, so you need to hit Rusty up and say, hey man, I heard that you have remark. You can hit him up on the show. I heard you have some inserts that you remark up and stuff, and he's got his Mac and Trouble's fixed to be syndicated, so that's going to be cool. Michael Melton's got some really cool stuff. There's Jaws work again down at the bottom. Then you get into Yondu, and Yondu's been one of my favorites for a long time. And here's when I kind of feel that get the feedback that's cool. My wife found the Yondu one book for me when we were in the store. And she said, "Hey, look," she goes, "they did come out with a book, finally for Yondu." I said, "Awesome." So I picked it up, read the story that night. Cully Hamner was the artist on the cover right there. John McCree was the interior artist. I was like, you know what? I'm going to hit these guys up. Talk shop. Cully Hamner, I believe, is in Canada. John McCree, we talk often. Great, fabulous artist, does tons of commissions. We helped him do some stuff with one of his Kickstarters. But John's an amazing guy. John's over there in Ireland, back, and I'm half Irish, half French. So back in the motherland, right? He's over there doing his thing. And then there's, Josh does incredible artwork, right? Josh's spots right there. You can go pull up his portfolio. You can pull up, and that's what we want to do. We want to keep filling up this artist gallery and these creators corners with you guys, so you can be known, because we're out there advertising for the creators corner and saying, hey, look, come check out all the people in the creators corner. Come check everything out in the artist gallery. And that's bringing people to you guys anyway. You're going to get that overflow. So that's why we said we're opening up those 3 sections. Drop me a message. Say, hey, I heard about it on CromCon. I'd love to get a channel. What do I need to do? And we will get you a channel on, and it will change the way the audience that you have right now will definitely grow.
And that's the whole point.
That's the point.
Base off each other.
Well, pick if you scroll back up, go to hit the main home part again, and go back to the home section. Now, see, if you scroll down the bottom, we'll catch back up to this one and say, but if you scroll up, there is the setup. You go hit the shops real quick. You can check out what Kickstarters are going on. You can go see what work we do over at Inked. But the Kickstarters, if you click on the Kickstarter real second, just click on either one of the buttons. There you go. And it goes through some of the different Kickstarters that we've already done out there, some of the Kickstarters that are coming up. There's Montage Sisterhood. We talked about Local Hero. That just it's an amazing book, great cause. And there's there's John's book as well. And then if you keep going down, you'll see some of the other books that just finished up and some that are coming up. There is Silverback's book that just finished. Right beside that is Big Al's book. That is Chuck's book that just finished. And then Sisterhood is still going on. And then right behind it's going to come the other book from Richard Boone is The Midnight Witch. So there's a lot of stuff in the can. We've got 4 or 5 Kickstarters we're doing right now, all at the same time, that are some really good books, and several of them have joined up and are in CromCon. So as they come up, we'll talk about them. They're going to talk about their book. They're going to draw some things for you. They're going to really give you a really good chance to see what they have to offer.
That's what I was just going to say. Everybody who's in CromCon is going to be on NSC Live TV. They're going to be on CromCon. Okay, so you're already indirectly connecting. Make full connection.
We're going to talk about another connection between the two. If you scroll back up to the top and hit the home button again, I'm going to show you kind of the unveiling we've been kind of hinting about all night. We'll talk a little bit about that. If you scroll down a little bit more, you see the comicradery.com, and that is our is a podcast show that was born out of the panel from CromCon 9. So we kind of, Dutz and I kind of have got, not kicking and screaming, maybe a little bit twisted arm, but we have gotten pulled into the podcasting world now. Again, like I said, I've been behind the scenes for many years, and from many years as far as doing commercials and radio and all that stuff. And now we're going to go and we've backed, like you've heard me talk about several podcasting adventures we've backed. Now we're doing one ourselves.
That's exciting.
So, this is Phil's fault. This is Pop's fault, and we're gonna hit Igmith up too. All 3 of you guys.
You can cuss me out later.
This is all of you guys going. You and Justin have been jamming. You guys need to kind of maybe bring this into a show. So if you go ahead and click the button, it'll bring you over. We have everything set up now. We're going to launch in 2021. It's got Facebook, it's got Twitter, it's got Instagram, it's got YouTube, it's got a website.
Guys, you better accept the invite because this is awesome.
we just started doing the invites today, and it's already got, we just did started actually a few hours ago. There's already 18 people in it, and we just started doing it just, like I said, a few hours before we came on tonight. So we want to make sure we had everything in place.
So let it be known, the Pops effect is now in effect.
Pops effect is in effect. I gotcha.
So it's Atomic Camaraderie, and if you want to, I don't know if you slipped it over to Phil, but if you want to bring up, we have the unveiling of the logo, because nobody else has seen the logo. So this is the first time the logo for the show is gonna hit the streets.
Well, we're gonna blow up like banners, so I'm not stressing it too much.
No, we're gonna have all kind of cool stuff, shirts and hats, and my wife had come up with the idea earlier of the old school style trucker hat with the snapback. So yeah, that's coming. And then Dustin, I don't want to give away his idea. He can talk about it. He's got that really cool. It just hit me with an idea.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with that one. I think that we're gonna have a maybe do a giveaway for that. My wife and I were talking about that. I think that'd be a lot of fun to do a maybe the very first podcast we do. It'll be a limited shirt, and nice. If you comment on the very first podcast we do, however many people comment, we'll have somebody pull a random name out of the amount. Your wife, my wife, somebody pull a random name out of people that commented, and we'll shoot them this amazing shirt. It's going to be super cool. Back in the day, I have a T-shirt with the Ninja Turtles because I'm a huge fan, and I don't wear it like I ought to. You know what I mean? Because we're getting older and whatnot. But it says "Ninjas do it better in the dark," and it's all black, and the bandana's glow in the dark.
Nice.
So I'm going to get we're going to do a.
You do not wear that.
Right. We're going to do here I am wearing a Pokemon Mass Effect shirt on at the same time. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this shirt almost like the image you're seeing here, but it's going to be glow in the dark.
Well, I'm fixing to drop over. I thought the logo had already made it over there, but I'm fixing to drop the logo over to Phil since Phil's doing the board.
So it'll be a really cool logo. There'll be no background. It'll just be this dude being lit by the glowing hazmat.
Oh, nice.
Symbol. So everybody on the team will get one, and then we'll end up doing a giveaway, and it'll be a special giveaway, and the only way you'll be able to get it is like that. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, Kevin, you got anything to pull up? Just in StreamYard, you can just hit the screen share, and Pops has got control.
Oh, I got 15,000 things. Well, Pop, you have the logo, so you want to go ahead and drop it in there for him?
Oh, geez. Now you got me having to dig about.
Hey, that's right.
I start digging around my computer, man.
Hang on. I can hand it to Phil if you want me to. I just got too many screens to open up.
Yeah, either way, I had to open up my second monitor, man. I'm still juggling.
It's an entirely different animal altogether, okay? I'm sitting here bagging some bags and boards while we're talking. This guy's got like 75 conversations going and pulling up ideas for other stuff at the same time. I'm just like, man.
Oh wait, that's not it. That's
it's coming. It feels in your deal right now.
Sent over. I'll pull it up.
It's up. It's up right now. This is the first time that anybody other than, of course, Dustin's been involved with the logo. We get over to Pops. Hang on, it's coming. It's over there.
Hold on, I gotta pull it up. Bring it over into the window.
Phil's
so
doing a lot of
you
stuff
my
too
other
now.
browser.
He's a busy man as well.
Oh yeah, Phil's he's got stuff going like me.
Anyway, if you're looking over there, while we're waiting,
leave on the light.
If you look over here in the news, we got Brian Wayne, who's going to be in CromCon.
Okay, let's stay on topic. Bring up my screen real quick.
Stay on topic. He says now that he's ready, he acts like I went off.
Hey, got to be quick to the draw, man.
So imagine that trucker hat. I'm excited for the strap back trucker hat. I can't wear hats because I've got so much hair, but I love the concept of the trucker hat. I mean, it's just really cool.
Well, see, trucker hats have that kind of high thing where you can fit all that hair up underneath.
And I look silly. Don't mess with me. I'll come on and I'll perm. Don't make me perm. I'll come on there and we'll be like, poof.
Yeah, that's the way I'd be too.
Right.
You should see it if I would decide to do a full-on mohawk or Liberty spikes, man.
Yeah,
it'd be like Wayne Static.
Phil said his hair's sticking off the sides of the panel. You won't be able to see it all.
Yeah. So there's a couple different versions of this. It's just color different versions. There's some for different applications. There's a 1 color, 2 color, right? There's different versions for different things, stickers, magnets, applicators, there's all kind of applications that we're doing with it. But we want to unveil the logo on the show live. So
Absolutely.
This is the first time it's made its way out there. So,
well, it's exciting. I mean, I'm very thankful to, and I'll say it, and I've said it numerous times before, but Adam Fields, Kyle Willis, there have been a couple guys that have been really, I mean, even though Kyle's my business partner, he's pushed me and made me, go that mile that he knew I could go. You know what I mean? So, and then Adam introducing me to all these people and getting me out there and getting me to open my own doors and show more people my product. And I'm very thankful, and to Pops for having me on all the time and cutting with me and whatnot. I appreciate that. Introducing me into Kevin. And, once again, I'm my own worst critic, and I'll say that anytime we talk. You know what I mean? I am, I'm beginning to feel myself. You know when the giraffe is born and it like walks all gangly and stuff and it can't quite use its own legs? That's me. I'm falling on my face every time I turn around, and everybody's like, why are you falling? Stand up on your own. You've got the guts to do it. Get up, walk a little bit. You'll be just fine. And we talk about all that, but it comes from a core belief that people can assist one another. And that's what I find so powerful about this. Then moving into this conversating and talking and having fun with Kevin, and going to tell you guys all kinds of cool crap and talk to you guys about the future of this business and what's awesome about it and everything else, and bringing on people like Phil and Pops to talk and shoot the shit and whatnot. It's amazing, and it really is. And I'm going to tell you this from the bottom of my heart. Not one of us would do this if we didn't think the community would gain from us doing it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's such a positive thing and a very powerful movement. When you have no cons and you don't get to talk to writers and you don't get to talk to artists or people to be able to, and I've done it. I mean, I don't care that I write my own book. I don't care that I've done numerous projects in the past. The fact that I can come on and see these amazing people that I wait months to see, we may be talking about personal friends of mine. We may be talking about people that aren't my friends, but people I'm a fan of, to be able to see them talk and to talk about their projects. It's powerful.
You bring up Adam, and I think to myself, look, I knew Adam 3 groups ago. Okay, 3 groups ago that I was a major contributor in. Okay, I can go back 4 or 5 years. I've known Adam. I got to meet Adam. Adam delivered a commission to me personally.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, he came to where there was a meeting where some of us were meeting, and he brought it to me, and I got to meet him, and I got to watch him actually draw something. And I asked him last time I had him on, I was like, "Do you remember what you were drawing when we met?" And he remembered, man.
He did.
It was like 4 years ago, and he remembered exactly he wasn't drawing it for me. He was drawing it for somebody else, but he remembered exactly what it was. And that blew me away. That's the kind of connection dude has to his fans.
Yeah.
There's no way I couldn't help these guys out, man. These guys are awesome.
And working their butts off, man.
Everybody in my group, every creative in my group, and some that aren't in my group are awesome. If it wasn't for what they do, I just wouldn't have that fandom. I wouldn't have that, that interest. I mean, you guys do. Well, that's what I say. Keep doing what you do.
Absolutely. Well, we were just talking. Phil and I were talking the other night. I mean, it's such an interesting thing to be able to take one guy and go, look at this guy. Now I'm going to add this guy. Like Pops, you did it on accident. Right? You're like, I'm going to take this guy, bring him over here. Now he knows this guy. Now I've created this like sweet tea, or I've made my own Arnold Palmer out of this writer and this artist I like. You know what I'm saying? And you don't even do it on purpose. It just becomes
I've thought of that.
It's organic, man.
People.
It is, absolutely.
I've thought of actually going to different people and saying, I want you to do a book that I have an idea for. I want you to draw it, you to write it, I want you to letter it. I'd love to get people together to do something like that.
I mean, well, like the other night, I've written 20 plus issues for the listener already. Okay, so I started a couple weeks back. I started writing something that was different for me. I started writing another story in the world of the listener from the point of view of a 10-year-old child. And this is the first time we're talking about this live. This is a very interesting topic to me. So we'll have a secondary book running, and I've asked Phil to join my team on this secondary book. Now, that all is going to depend on how well the listener continues to do. I mean, we've blown issue 1 out of the water. I mean, I'm blessed for the first time. Like I said, I opened my own business at 30 years old, opened a brick and mortar comic shop. I was scared to death. Okay, I was scared to death to throw my savings into it. Then it was start a comic book. Holy cow, scared to death to jump right back into something else wild and heavy, real heavy. And people don't realize you're talking between $5,000 and $7,000 just for your first issue. You know what I mean? So it's like real heavy to hop back into water like that again. And for us to make our goal I've backed numerous goals, Kickstarter. To be fair, I've backed 14, 15 Kickstarters because I've only known about it for a year. You know what I mean? So I've backed what I saw that I could and when I could. And then all of a sudden it was like we had our first book got through. We met our goal, $2,400. We did it. You know what I mean? And then it was like, okay, well, I said I was going to do, an issue a month. And everybody was like, there's no way. There is absolutely no way you're going to do an issue a month. I said, okay, guess what? Issue 2's funded already, and I haven't done a Kickstarter yet or an indie. So, and that's just by sales that I've been doing on book 1 around local shops. Stores overseas have bought copies of issue 1. We're not even out there yet. You know what I mean? Can you imagine what it's going to be like when the book is in your hand and we're actually using NSC Live TV to market our book and to push to other people? That's how powerful I feel the listener is. So I reached out to Phil and I was like, hey man, in 3 or 4 months, you want to start working on another series? You know what I mean? Because David Acampo, who has done a cover for me, for the listener book 1, he's of Zenescope fame and he's worked for Marvel. He's done some DC. So he's looking at covers, and if I can get him to, he's going to do the interiors for the new series, which would be absolutely phenomenal in my opinion, because his artwork is beautiful. His artwork is absolutely stunning. So that's what I'm talking about Pops making his own Arnold Palmers. It becomes this inadvertent symbiosis that we've created. Like Kevin and I jive, man. It's like nobody's business. When Kevin and I talk, it's like I've known Kevin 30 years. You know what I mean? It's literally conversating like it's nobody's business. And there are people that can do that. You can be a fly on the wall and talk to anybody. I mean, not everybody has that ability. So when you jive with people, when you mold well with people, it's very refreshing. So it's. Go ahead, Phil.
It goes from like about what you expect maybe to be about a 15-minute or half-hour conversation, and the next thing you know, 3 hours have flown by.
Absolutely. And it's such a powerful thing. You're muted, Kevin.
You're muted, Kevin.
We're each, I was trying to keep the echo down for you guys, but we're each kind of jamming on our own thing. So we each have us each in the background, and we're talking about different things we got going, and we're popping out work as we're doing it, So it's cool to be able to jam with another creator and get all that going, right? It's good positive vibes. Absolutely. And we're just kind of just talking shop as we're getting stuff cranked out. And you also become to me, when you have that kind of vibe going, you become more productive. You like Phil said, you'll look up and man, it's like 3 hours have passed, but yet I've got, 2 Kickstarter, ads out of the way. I've got a couple marketing analysis done, and we've got the new Kickstarters coming up for the new crew. So, I mean,
and it helps you, and especially this year, man, it's helped me keep my sanity, man. If it wasn't for a lot of the comics people, a lot of you guys, most of you are all my friends, and I really mean that, honestly. You've helped me keep going for sure.
Hey, man, like I said, I'm so thankful. I mean, so thankful. And, then it's like, and stuff like that particular comment alone, I mean, it's literally like I mentioned the other day, or just a few minutes ago too, it's a fan. If a fan says, hey, look, you got to keep doing it, I enjoy it. I look forward to it every time it's coming out. I don't care about, money makes the book go round. Fans bring the book to life. You know what I'm saying? That's what it boils down to. And for us to be able to talk, right? So we're talking. I mentioned something about Chernobyl, you know, last night. You know, and we're talking about Chernobyl for a minute, and it's like it when another person vibes off you, they release, like, it's not, I don't want to say endorphins, but they release something in your brain that makes you think in a different direction that you would have previously thought about. You know what I'm saying? It makes it absolutely. When you talk about creativity, it brings that creativity forward.
It
You know,
starts firing things off in your head.
absolutely, absolutely. It's just like the neurons just start blasting. You know what I mean?
Use the force, Luke.
Absolutely,
There you
absolutely.
go. That's Dr. Dangerously. You
I
know,
like to live dangerously.
he said something a minute ago. 2020 has left more than its share of fallout, but it's bringing all of us together as proverbial phoenix rising out of the ash. And
Absolutely, man. That's
since
a
I spent
beautiful statement.
35 years living in Phoenix, I know exactly what he's talking about. Oh, and his name is Luke too.
Well, there
I
you
dig
go.
it. I dig it. Absolutely.
I
Well,
did
hello,
not
Luke.
know that, y'all. I'm serious. I did not know that.
Hello, Luke.
Nice having you,
Hello,
man.
Sharky that just showed up. Cool. All right.
Later, what's going on? Welcome to the
I think that, you know, one of the most entertaining things about being able to write to people's strengths, to me, you know, because I don't draw my own stuff anymore. You know, I haven't drawn in a long time. But it's to this point where, like our process now, okay, is I literally go in, and when I say draw, I mean actually go in and put time into it. I doodle my sketches out, or my panels out, and then Eric goes in and cleans up my panels and has a general idea of what I want to see per page. So when I say that people jive real well, it's like when you look at my book or another book where a team gets along very well, you can see beyond just the panel. You can see what the creative team is trying to show you. There are instances of PTSD in my book, in a lot of issues of my book, coming issues, that you'll notice that if you understand it and you've been around it, you can actually vibe off of that and go, hey man, I really understand what he's going through right now, because loud sounds take me to a place I'm not used to being, or I don't want to be ever again. You know what I mean? So it's very interesting, man. It's a cool thing. Um, he does know about some pro wrestling alligators, that guy right there.
He does know about pro wrestling gators, and here we got Sharky Gator. I'm like, this is networking in the making right here. I'm telling you. I
And
can
it's
already
fine.
see the cross promotion between these guys. Yeah, I
You
can
guys
already
need to
see
do
it.
a crossover book with some wrestling.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm not gonna lie.
Just connecting covers. That's what I want to see. I want to
Well,
see the
I'm gonna
wrestling gators
I'm
and
gonna kind of go.
Sharky.
I'm gonna kind of go back to what Dustin was talking about how creativity starts to take hold, and it kind of goes back to the story. And there was several artists that put in together to form and bring Monty's story to life. Monty, of course, is a very gifted artist in and of himself. But I saw some panels a while back, and I got a chance to watch the book be born, which was really great, and be there. And he talks about and several of his things. You can actually go. We're actually kind of putting together some segments of it, so you kind of see how things flow together. But in some of the lives, he talked about um, how the idea formed. And actually, if you go to the Kickstarter, if you go to local hero Kickstarter, you can hear the story behind it. I'm fixing to kind of give you the Cliff Note version of it. But like you talk about ideas being, jiving with people and ripping off people and stuff, riffing back and forth, getting those neurons shooting off. He was at, I believe it was San Diego Comic Con, if I remember right. I believe it was San Diego Comic Con. He's going, and you picture all these cosplayers walking towards you, and then there, and I'm not telling the story nearly as well as he tells it, so I'll just say that real quick. But you see all these different cosplayers coming, and you see a woman that has some stuff going on in her head, and she's got some PTSD, and she's pushing the buggy, and she's just obviously homeless, and these two cross, right, and she's saying something, and so he pulled that image in his head right at that moment, right, and said, man, that would kind of make a remarkable story if that's what she was working through, right, and that's what she was and she saw herself as a superhero, but she basically, had a football helmet on, and but in her mind, right, she's a totally, it's like she's transcended into Batman, right? So and I was like, wow, man, that is just an awesome story. And he's telling this on a panel like we're doing right now, and this was a panel we did for CyberCon, and immediately say, you know what, man, you need to go ahead and do that book. He's like, well, I've had it in my head for a couple of years. No, you need to do that book. It's that good. You need to do this book. Well, you need to do this book now. And this is right when COVID started to take hold, and that's why CyberCon was done, because when MegaCon went down, CyberCon took its place. And I'm not saying we're the first. We're pretty close if we weren't the first, but one of the very first.
CromCon was born.
There you go. One of the very
bit.
first ones to do that. So when that happened, we jammed a lot with people from all over the world, kind of like we're fixing to do now with CromCon, right? So he said, well, and Rob was there and stuff, and Rob Anderson was there, and we're like, no, you really need to do this book. So I was like, okay, you guys have talked about it, and him and I talked about it offline some more, and he went forward and did the book. And you can read his testimonial that he puts out there for us that says, man, I am so glad that I listened to you and did the book, because his book blew the numbers out of the water. People were so hungry for a story like that. And you hit upon a great theme in your book as well. I love what you've done with it. I mean, that's something that needs to be talked about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And
it's a terrifying thing that we don't know unless we've experienced it.
yeah,
I mean, it's very horrifying, and you could take an individual that has dealt with it, and they could tell you horrible stories about their life, but if they read a book about it, it vibes with stuff they've been through. You know what I'm saying? I'm not just talking about military or anything. I'm talking about horrible experiences in general. There are things that will remind us, like good music does. Good music takes me to a place, like things I remember from my youth or events in my life, and I'm sure it does for a lot of people. So it's like, it's just very powerful. And when we hit on powerful things, it brings people back. You know what I'm saying? If I read a superhero book and I'm like, oh, that's cool, it's a superhero. They rescued somebody, yada, yada, whatever. Okay. But then, like, it's the difference between reading Superman and Spider-Man. And a lot of people don't understand what I mean by that. As a youth, to me, Peter Parker, I didn't have a lot. You know what I mean? My family wasn't wealthy. I didn't have much at all. You know what I mean? We lived on a farm in Virginia. My comics were the 7-Eleven trip every 2 weeks. I got one book, and that was all I got to get. So I didn't get to read books concurrently. So with Peter Parker, to me, he was a normal dude that just happened to have extra, abilities that he lived with and had a normal life between getting married and, losing a child, being an average Joe versus these guys that just did these amazing things all the time. They were just superheroes. I couldn't jive with that. So when you take a book and you can vibe with it as you're reading it, you have to, and Pops made me laugh, and it's made me feel good every time I think about it. He was like, I had to read it twice. So having to read my book twice means you had to think about it. It meant that you literally had to sit and think about what you were reading versus the bad guy got caught at the end of the book.
Dude,
that was it.
I didn't go into none of it. I said, that's deep. I'm going to have to read that again before I talk to you online.
Absolutely.
Those are like pretty close to my exact words.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to read it again.
And it made me feel good because it made me realize that he vibed with my book. So people that, if you pick up a book and you really vibe with it, you want to know when the second one's coming out. You want to know when the third one's coming out. I tell you who I read a lot, and I love his books, is Steve Alton. He actually, God bless him, he finally got Meg out in the theater. It came out. I've been talking to the dude for years. His books were some of my favorite novels that have ever been written. It was like reading a James Bond book mixed with Jaws. 400 pages to 600 pages a book. And every time it came out, I picked it up. I couldn't put it down. And that's how I want my books to be to people. I want you to be able to vibe with it and pick it up and not be able to put it down. And I just thought of something with all this Shark Gator stuff going on before I forget. I posted something on the Madness.
You think the Shark Gator is bad?
Is that a riff from Cowabunga? I got you. Okay.
I have no idea. I just ran across it earlier today.
Anyway, and I'm from Florida. I understand where all this is going. So anyway, so you've got this. I talked about taking your greatest fear, and I said, Pops and Phil, you guys pick one that you think is the best out of this. I put a blurb up about it on Facebook on the Madness. Some of those ideas I'm using already. The one I saw that I have not used was the cockroach thing. I can't remember who brought up the cockroach thing. Somebody brought up the
bugs.
And I have not written anything about giant bugs. And seeing as we're going to give it one more week, but seeing as I've used the other things, the body modification and the inability to control one's actions, like mind control almost, since I've used those two things in stories already, I said I wouldn't, but in a week, if no one else has said anything else, and we'll repost it, I'm going with the giant bug, just so everybody knows, and it's going to be wild because I don't know if you guys remember.
There's something weird about that too, because somebody else had said something about creating characters or something, and all I said was bugs.
Okay,
I didn't say like that, and it was somebody else's post entirely. But,
okay, you want to talk bugs? I'm from Louisiana, so we can talk bugs all time.
Oh no!
I have a whole arc coming out in Louisiana that we're going to have to talk about.
Yeah, we can talk. I can give you the skinny.
Those in those places, in those tropical regions, you guys have those big giant things, man. That I'm just like, get away!
It's like the kind you're talking about, are like an Apache helicopter, right? When it might come out from something, or it might be near the fridge, and you're trying to move your sandwich. Look, man, it's coming. It's coming for your sandwich. It's coming for you. It might take your hat with it. I mean, you can feel the force, man, of this thing coming down.
There was a Godzilla movie that came out years and years and years ago. It was one of the originals. I can't remember the name of the era. I wish I could, but there were giant bugs in this submarine that they pulled out of the ocean, and they were like supposed to be prehistoric bugs, but they were big enough to eat the crew. Okay. That's where I'm going. I'm not going. What is that thing that they talk about? What is that bug they talk about in the sand bug?
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? The one all guys in the military talk about. What is that thing called?
I'm trying to think of it, but I can picture what you're talking about.
Camel spiders.
Camel spider. Everybody talks about the camel spider.
Oh God, those things are ruthless.
So
I've heard stories.
There's some things out by oil rigs that you don't want to ever come across. There's like divers that go down by the rigs and come up. They're like, look, we're not going by this rig again. There's things down there that will swallow you whole. Okay. I deal with the construction and welding side of the world. So there's people, I don't underwater weld. There's people that do. I think that's amazing. There's been underwater welders that are like, look, man, look, I'm it. That's it. I'm done. I'm not going back down there, because they have come nose to nose with things.
All that energy leaking out, making the bugs bigger is what
it is. See, that's what we talk about. The other funny thing behind this, we basically took the word camaraderie, which we all miss from the cons, and shoved it together with comics. That's where the camaraderie comes from. That's where that word comes from, a brand new word, right? And we slap the atomic with it, just from like we're talking about, the jamming back and forth and all the neurons frying up. That's my industry, right? I work in the nuclear industry, okay? So it's kind of fun being able to take what I do in that realm and cross it over into the comic realm. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. I'm excited about it. I'm real jazzed about everything we're doing. I'm real jazzed about everything that the Madness has been doing. I mean, to have a platform that we can come into and is safe, that's something that I think a lot of people take for granted. I can come on here and talk and not worry about either people being rude to me. I don't have to worry about, and that's not just me, that's everybody. You don't have to worry about being insulted. You can come in and talk about what you want to talk about in a safe space, and it's very important. I learned about safe spaces when we opened our business because we worked around people that were agoraphobic. We were helping a group of people, come out of their homes and actually be able to be outside and socialize. It's very powerful, and we take it for granted being safe. This is a very safe place for anybody that wants to talk creatively. You can go in and you could talk about anything that involved your book, your product, or anything, and not have to worry about any backlash from it. The only thing that I would suggest doing is take everything from people, and I've always been like this, learn from the people that have been there before you. You know what I mean? If they've got something to say and you're on a show with them, appreciate what they have to say, because they've been there where you're sitting right now. These guys have been in the business for a long time, and they want to help.
Those guys. I'm the noob here, Dustin. You've been in the business longer than me, bro. I'm the noob.
Yeah, but
that's the thing. If you ask Adam, he'll tell you, yeah, I remember Pops. He's a fan. He didn't know me. He didn't meet me as this guy.
Yeah, but you're a fan though. But that's what we go back to. That's
what I mean. It's like all the other, like, you guys are creators in the indie street. Okay, you guys actually art. You actually write. I'm a fan who went, these guys need a platform. I have this, at the time, a group of 400 and 500 people. I was jamming. I have a platform. I'll put you guys out there. Well, I mean, it's growing. Now I get to meet Kevin. Now we make it grow.
Grow.
Now we make it grow. Now we get to add the miracle grow to the mix.
That's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I can't tell you how excited
You're muted, Kevin. You're muted again, bro.
Working with Kevin is exciting. It's a good idea. It's fun.
We have just as much. There it is. We have just as much fun with it, man. Because like I said, I enjoy meeting people like you guys and being able, like you said, talk shop for all hours of the night and really kind of, grow ideas and it's really fulfilling to us to see somebody's book take hold. And we're working, like I said, we've got 4 Kickstarters that have just come in that we're all in the beginning stages of getting their advertising out there. And now that CromCon is part of the NSC tour circuit, you'll see, like I said, you'll see these people out there. You'll be able to see what they're about. You'll see them on several different podcasts coming out there. But we'd also like to, and Pops, if you want to run around the board real quick and kind of let people know who's all a part of this.
We'll start down in the lower left where we got Cowabunga. And then, of course, right above that is powered by NSC Live TV, and that's the way it's going to be. Above that, we have partners and friends in Hasm, Tina, Rodney, Sean, and I always forget, producer number 2. Okay, I can remember that much. And then we got Earth Station 1. Kevin brought Mike on, right? Chuck. Everybody knows Chuck. I don't know if they're
Chuck and his 1,200 clones.
Yeah, everybody knows Chuck.
We had him everywhere. It was like,
he is everywhere.
The Ray Stevens song, he's everywhere. He's everywhere.
He's everywhere, and he's in bed sleeping. Okay, he's everywhere, and he's in bed at the same time. He gets his rest, but he's everywhere.
Man, I need that.
And then we have, of course, the original logo by Edwin Artex Padillo for the comic-related madness, and our own little troll Crom. That's where he originated from. He, Edwin created him, made him up, and he just took on a life of his own. Next to that, we have Creators Outlet Podcast with William Pace. Evo is one of our other admins with the madness.
Arash.
Okay, that's his thing. He has podcasts. He has a show for toys. He has a pop culture show. He does an art show with Sammy Castillo. Going to try to get him out here on NSC Live as well. Below that, you can give us this one. Go ahead. You can introduce this one, Kevin. This
was the show I talked about earlier. This is Cheers to Comics Podcast. You can go there and listen to all these wonderful creators that have all this great work coming out. You can hear Brian talk about some of the different books that are out for your pull list. See if you want to expand your pull list and what some of these great new titles are. He just has a really good wealth of knowledge when it comes to books and a real good feel for picking out the good ones. So if you missed out on Daredevil 25, you can't blame anybody but yourself, but not listen to his show and catch that. Or Daredevil, 50 is the one, I believe it is. It's 25 or 50. What's the book that just came out? I blanked on the number for a second, but
I'm not a Daredevil fan. I'd let you know if I was.
It's the.
I don't know, but I know that the way I get it, Elektra's Daredevil now.
Yeah, it's $100 book right off like opening day, right? So and
she's
then
in jail and she's taking the mantle of the protector of Hell's Kitchen. I'm down with that.
That's
I'm
exciting.
okay with that. Except they have to water her down to pull off Matt Murdock's view of who Daredevil's supposed to be. She ain't gonna be allowed to go out there and just stick a sign in somebody.
I mean, look at Batman Nightfall. I mean, we well know.
Look, I can hope. Elektra's my girl. Okay.
Oh, we know.
Elektra's my girl. She's all over my wall, man. She's on my wall more than anybody. Okay. But don't water her down like they did in that stupid movie, man. You can't give us Elektra the first time you give her to us and make her soft. That was what they did. They just made her soft right from the beginning, and it's like they kind of ruined her for the movies. Now the version in Netflix, not bad. They, she died, came back, all that, and she's Elektra. Does mean stuff.
Now, you know how that stuff comes back around, though. She may have her own show again here soon enough, all on her own movie.
I'm like, when they gave her the mantle, when they gave her Matt's mantle in Hell's Kitchen, I'm okay with that because she has a connection to Hell's Kitchen. Okay? But I want her to be Elektra, too.
Absolutely.
Well, that's taken out. I want her to take them out. I don't want her to play games.
For sure. I mean, that you're a fan. That goes right back to it. You enjoy this character. You want the best for this character. And that's a powerful thing in itself. The characters that people are fans of stay around. If you don't have fans, they kind of disappear. We've had plenty of characters over the years that I really enjoyed. Danny Moonstar being one of them. Yep. And the fact that he just up and disappeared, or she up and disappeared, And then we've got, oh my gosh, what was that kid that was the Flash for a minute?
That's why they called him the Flash.
Oh. Exactly. It was so much fun, and he was gone in no time.
Flash for a minute.
I mean, but there's been a lot of really cool characters that that deserved better, but they didn't have a fan base, so they didn't stick around. I think that we bring it back to characters that I'm fond of. Turok. I'm a huge fan of Turok. I've been a fan forever, and as I got older, I was able to get my hands on the older books, and the books that I wouldn't have had as a kid. And it was just what happened to poor Turok, man? So we gotta make Addie. That my long-term goal.
You went to video games.
Addie. We did get the video games. It's fair. They were good too.
They were.
They were good. So I want Addie to be the Turok of the next generation. I think that'd be pretty dope.
Just let me finish up. We got a couple more here. We got Indie Bolt, who we covered earlier. We talked about them earlier, and they have a channel on NSC already, I believe. But like I said, those guys have been wonderful to the madness, to the people in CromCon from the beginning. From the first time I went up, can I get up on your show? And then a friend of mine that had a Kickstarter going at the time caught some bad press, and Indie Bolt was there and let me bring him out on the show, and he made all kind of money. It was beautiful after catching all that bad press, And it's like we went out and we let him tell a story, and that's how you do that, You give people the exposure they need, and you let the fan make the choice. You don't influence. You give the person the exposure. You give them the exposure and let them say their piece. And if the fan likes them, they like them, and they buy their books. And if the fan don't like them, they don't like them, don't buy their books. But you, as a promoter, you don't play that one side of the fence or the other. You're trying to help everybody.
Exactly. Yeah. Well put. Because we are all about getting the visibility out there. It doesn't. We don't put our spin onto. Right. What we think about certain things or aspects of the book or how they created it. But like, look, if we like the book, we'll say we like the book. We'll say, hey, look, this is what they did. Come check a look at it for yourself. Go listen to a podcast. Check them out.
And because I do have a personal opinion, you guys know I don't do reviews.
That's right.
okay? Because I am kind of outspoken about who I am. I don't do reviews because, you know, I'm going to read the book, and you'll know if I buy book two, or you'll know by the passion that I'm promoting book two. If you didn't pay me, that is. If you pay me, you get it all. Trust me. If
Well,
you didn't pay me, and you'll be able to tell by my passion for whether or not what you sold me was a success in getting my attention or getting that emotional response. Um, I'm going to promote you.
if you want to talk reviews, there's Chuck's, raw
Yeah,
reviews.
yeah.
So
I mean, the next guy I was going to talk about, Comic Chat Authority, Cody over there at Comic Chat Authority. They do reviews. There's plenty of people that do reviews, so I get to still be me and just enjoy the books.
everybody's kind of settling into their own. Like I had a conversation with Rob the other day. Rob's going to focus on comic news, right?
Yes.
That's going to be his groove, so everybody's kind of finding their place, right? Everybody's kind of finding their groove right now. It's really great to see everything come together that way.
And I want all of these people that we've lined up on these banners. Nobody's paying us for this or anything. It's not even about that. I want all these people to succeed. Their podcasts, they're selling toys, they're selling books, whatever they're doing. Okay, I want everybody to succeed. That's we all benefit from everybody succeeding. A few of us benefit from a few of us succeeding. Okay, and there's something else that I really wanted to say in closing is that when I buy a writer's work, okay, if there's a writer I like and I buy that person's book, the art is a bonus. Whoever the artist is and all that, that's a bonus on the side, okay? Because I bought the book because I like the writer, okay? If I bought a book because I like the artist, the writing is a bonus. And I might become a fan of that writer, okay? You guys work together, you work together. You don't step on each other's creativity. You work together to build something awesome, okay? But just let it be known, as a fan, if we attach ourselves to a writer or an artist, we don't want there to be strife on the team, because we attached ourselves to one of you, and that person attached himself to the other one, and we want to love you all, okay? So don't step on each other's work. Don't make it difficult on each other. The fans buy the writer's work because they love the writer. They buy the artist's work because they love the artist. Be what you are. Be a writer, be an artist. If you're both, freaking right on. You don't need nobody getting in your way of what you're doing. It's like, but if you got to work with each other for the best possible result, please. Because we're sitting here waiting for that writer's work or that artist's work, and we don't want to find out that there was a big bickering in the mix of production, and we're not going to see it. We don't never want to hear that, ever. Work together, be cool, network, be cool. Love each other, man. Damn.
Peace, love, and comics, right?
Yeah, man. It's like you got fans. You got fans, and please, when you hook up with another creative to make a project, your fan base increases. Now you have two fan bases working together. You don't want them hating each other at the end of the day because you guys couldn't get along and made a big mess. We don't ever want that. We want you guys, because we back you and we love what you do individually. I love Brian Polito's work. I buy Brian Polito's work because I love him and what he does with Mr. McLean. I love the storytelling. I love what they do. There's all kinds of different artists come in. That's a bonus. Okay, do you understand what I'm saying? None of them artists go tell Brian Polito, hey, you should do this, or I'm going to change this in your story, or anything like that. They don't tell him what to do. They're glad they get to depict his vision of the story. That's what everybody needs to do. Work together so that we as fans get the best possible product. Okay? I buy a Brian Polito written story. I want a Brian Polito written story. If I buy a CC De La Cruz art, I want CC De La Cruz art. I don't want what somebody else decided that should look like. Work together, network.
Well, the
God,
what's born out of that is really great books, right?
yes,
So like Dustin touched upon, and like like Pops, like you talked about it, when there's that gel there, right? When there's that good creative back and forth flow, right? That ebb and flow, it really gets captured in that moment in time, which is what a book is,
yes,
right? And that's exactly what you have. You have it's almost like a photograph, right? You have that imprint of that process in time. That's what a book basically represents. Everybody coming together for a creative, and there's the snapshot of what happened.
yes. It's like we want to see the God. We're fans, man. When somebody goes out there and says, "I'm going to do this with that person," and we get jacked for it, right? All right, I like that writer. I like that artist. This is going to be awesome.
Oh, I always knew I wanted to be an
know?
artist ever since I was little. But then meeting people, when I was young and before I was even out of high school, like I said, meeting people like Stephen Butler, that still to this day is a freelance artist. And now someone I can, swing over on IM and say, "Hey man, what are you working on right now?" And just talk with him on that level is just amazing for someone like me who, he influenced me. I went into college, got an art degree, went out in the world and did advertising art, did design for several years. I still do it to this day. Um, that's a very, very integral part of my life. So it's just cool to be able to talk with other creators and still keep those kind of experiences going. That's what I love about it.
Yep,
Absolutely.
Now we've ran 2 hours, and I really would like to kind of cut it right here. If there's anything else you want to bring up, let's go ahead and slap it out there, because I got to save a little bit of this time on this because I got a couple of launch parties to do this week. So
I just want to say, make sure everybody tunes in, for one thing, to CromCon coming up, and then also to keep on the lookout. Make sure you like and subscribe everything to the Atomic Camaraderie. The name, like I said, we've punched down into Comic Camaraderie right there for an easy little tagline to grab it on the website, grab it on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe to all of it. It's going to be huge. We're going to do some great things for you guys. We're going to bring a lot of people on. We're going to jam and talk a little bit about the creative process, show you some things behind the scenes, pull back the veil, right? Kind of get some things out there. Swing by NSC Live TV. Come check out some great artists, writers, and creators. Come buy some books, man. Check out some live shows. See what they got. What kind of flavor, kind of book you want. Come check it out. There's shows from coast to coast. And then, that's cool. He just brought up about bringing the old Stephen Butler stuff.
And Stephen's ears are burning right now. I'm telling you.
Silver Sable was the first book that I was encountered with Stephen Butler. And the sad thing about it, like I said, we just moved real quick. And long story short, we just moved. I've been digging for that book. About 800 of my books did not make the trip somehow. Sadly, I think Stephen's book was in there. Now, Peter David's book was in there. His 2 books were in there, but I can't find Stephen's. So Stephen re-signed one for me.
Nice.
So I can put that one in its place. So that's amazing. I have several books signed from Stephen up there and Monty and the gang. So, that's a good feeling to be able to get that recreated. But yeah, so check out the artist. Check out what we got coming up with Comic Camaraderie. Gonna have a lot of fun. We're gonna bring in a lot of cool guests. We're gonna throw some ideas out there. We're going to learn some things. We'll learn some things from each other. We're going to just all grow together with it. It's going to be a very, a really fun experience for everybody. And, thank you for letting us be a part of this. And a big shout out to all the fans as far as stores and people as far as buying into what NSC does. And they're tuning in NSC for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to be Tuesday nights. And, Tuesday nights right now is Monday nights, which is Speculator Comics on Archive. And if you swing over, tomorrow is Tuesday nights, and Tuesday night, the big show for Tuesday nights is going to be Kapow, which has been voted the best comic book shop 3 years in a row in Colorado Springs, Colorado. So go check them out and see what it's all about. That's going to be tomorrow night. I got to see what time. It'll be 6 or 7 in there, but it's going to be Mountain Time. So look for them. Get their butt in their shows up there. You'll be able to check it out.
That's awesome. I'm excited. I'm going to jump on that myself. So before I get off here as well, like I said, I'm grateful. And I end almost everything with the fact I'm grateful. I really am. I'm grateful to everybody that hangs out. I'm grateful that everybody listens, and it's a big thing to me. my book being called The Listener, I appreciate folks listening to us and what we have to say. Comic camaraderie is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to do a lot of things. We're going to bring you a lot of knowledge. I'm also going to let you pick my brain as an aspect of this. If you have questions about the business, how this business works, from a guy that went from having no clue what doing my own book was like, but having experience in the business 15 years to going to the other side of the table, you'll be able to pick my brain, ask questions, anything from monetary questions to experiences with artists and other writers, from production companies, because I'm dealing with one right now. So, we're learning a lot about this business. So if I can help you in any way at all, feel free to ask. That'll be an open forum. We have at least one at a given point in time. You'll be able to talk to me and ask me what you think. I'm super excited about that. And with that, being on the Listener, please check out the Listener. It is www.thelistener.xyz.
Dustin, have you talked to Alan Johnson about possibly doing an episode in his mentor program?
No, sir. I need to. I've been meaning.
Question number 2. Hold on. That's just a yes or no question. Question number 2. What do you think of Manny Soto?
I'm sorry?
Manuel Soto. You guys talk?
No, I have not talked to Manuel Soto.
You didn't talk to Manny yet?
No, do I need to? I will.
Oh, yes. You guys got to talk. Remember I told you?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
So he sent me a friend request.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to talk to him. We talked for a minute. I told him what the book was about. He said he was very interested. He mentioned that he was a shaman. I find that absolutely amazing.
I told you, dude. You guys are going to be friends. You got to talk to him.
now that you've brought it up, he and I had an amazing conversation. And I'm super excited to get him a copy of the book. I'm super excited to get his opinion on it.
I'll tell you a little story real quick. That Pops right there that you're looking at, that Pops on the screen, Manny drew that. Manny drew that. That's
beautiful, man. And I'm going to tell you what, and I don't get into it. When I say I'm grateful for a lot of things. Adam Fields is a pillar in the things that I'm grateful for and the blessed, and why I feel blessed, because he's introduced me to a lot of people, a lot of incredible folks. And it's been my pleasure to work with him. And just so you know, along with the copy that I have of his cover for you, he'll be working on the cover for issue 3 as well, or 2 and 3. So he will be continuing with us. I'm very excited keeping the gang together, as we called it, the band. So you'll be seeing a lot of people. Gabby's still working on it. She's involved with book 2 and book 3 and so on and so forth. I've done my best to reach out to people that I wanted to keep on our team. That's what I wanted. I wanted to make sure that we could stay together and work together and grow as a group of people. And adding Phil being, I really think Phil's a good person, and conversing with Phil and stuff is enlightened me in other ways. And I feel like I said, I'm grateful. So pick up the Listener, check it out. You can get it at www.thelistener.xyz, which is part of Cowabunga Comics. You can actually go to cowabunga.com, cowabungacomics.com, and pick it up as well. We'll be adding the links to purchase this weekend. I didn't want to add them yet just because our first order is coming in. So it's coming in this week. I wanted to make sure the books were pristine before I gave you guys the ability to pick them up. That's all. I'm very particular about it. I wanted 9/8.
We appreciate that. Fans, we appreciate that.
So I wanted to make sure 9/8 should be there for everybody that ordered the book. And if you pre-ordered it, you already know you got your digital copies are already out now. The book is in the wild, man. So I'm really I get goosebumps every time it comes up, because I've gone from a fan to a store owner to a writer, and it's been this amazing evolution throughout my life that started in a gas station. You know what I'm saying? So I'm really, really excited to be able to share this with you. I'm excited to be able to share the story of the Listener with you. And I want to save as much time that Pops has left as I can. So like I said, check it out on the listener.xyz. We love it. We'd love to hear back. And if you reach out to Pops once again, or Kevin, I have 2 things going on right now. I have the story that we're adding that if anyone's interested in, tell us your favorite scary stuff, man. If you write something scary enough, or tell us your biggest fear and it's terrifying and I haven't used it, we'll use it. I'm going to add it. I'm going to let Phil and Pops pick the one they think is the scariest, If no one else comes in, we're doing big bugs. I don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's going to be big bugs. So then, if we've also got the fact that I mentioned earlier, anybody going through nsclive.tv.com has an ability to go, hey, look, Kevin, I'd like a cover of the listener for my store, or hey, Pops, I'd like a cover. If you go to either of them, okay, you go to either of them and you tell them that, I'll make sure you get a cover for your shop of the listener. I'm not doing it for many people because I feel like it's a marketing ploy. So this is something that we're trying to give back a little to groups, to people that are giving back to us. So I'm also, with that, not only do you get your cover, but you get an ad in the actual book itself. So make sure you guys reach out to those guys if you want your own personal book in your shop. And with that, like I said, thank you so much. I'm very grateful. And cowabunga.
Dude.
Cowabunga, dude.
Jeez. Phil, get him out. Get him out.
Huh? What?
Go ahead. Say your thing on your way out, dude.
Oh, on my way out. You threw me off there, man. I thought I was just the guy behind the curtain. No, yeah. I've been, like I said, lately things have been just a roller coaster lately. I've met so many cool creators, so many people reaching out to me. And God, you don't know how much I appreciate that. I'm trying to pull this off as a full-time thing. Now's the time. I'm working with so many different cool companies and on podcasts with so many cool people, dealing with Dustin and Kevin and Pops, and there's a lot of you. And I try to keep up. If I don't catch up to you right away, maybe, hit me up again. Cause sometimes now some of the things are getting buried and I don't see them because they roll down the line. So just, give me a reminder and I will get back to you. I promise, man.
Yeah.
And, you guys can find me around Facebook, Phil Leon, that's where it's at, or at social media, Phil Man X. Any of those will get you to where I'm at.
Phil's our left hand. He's the admin in the madness. He's real easy to find, man. I would call him my right hand, but he's my left hand. He knows what I'm talking about.
Okay. No, I'm the walker between the worlds.
Hey, man, I want to thank you guys for coming out. I want to thank you guys for everything that you're doing for the madness, for the people in the madness, for the guests at CromCon, for the people that aren't guests at CromCon that just might be watching or be paying attention and still hit you guys up. Kevin, you watch out, man. There's a lot of creatives in the madness. You never know what's going to come out of this, man. There's, like I said, every one of these podcasts or CromCons or whatever we do, there's always something positive that comes out of it. So, hooking up with you, I feel that's a positive for me that came out of the last one. You see what I'm saying? So I hope something really good comes out of a lot more people for the next one.
Awesome.
And with that, guys, I'm going to go eat something because I had kids all afternoon. It was taking care of them, not taking care of you. Dustin, always great talking to you. Kevin, I'm going to talk to you all night long, every night. His wife's going to hate me.
I'm probably taking the rest of the night off. I'm going to eat me something too, and I'll probably just cruise on
We're
out.
good. I'm good.
I need a night off.
Hey, well, thanks again, guys. Be good.
Peace.
Y'all have a good night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for viewing. Thanks for any new subscribers. Thanks for the shares. Thanks for the new members in the madness. Look, we got one more announcement I forgot. If we reach 2,000 members before CromCon 10, we're about 30-something, 33, 34 people away. And I'm not saying go right with anybody. We like comic people. Okay? But if we reach that 2,000 goal before we get to CromCon, Pops is going to dig. And you never know what can be given away when Pops digs. So, I don't do a lot of giveaways. You guys know I don't try to buy numbers that way. I'm just letting you know. With the growth the way it is, we get to 2K before CromCon, I'm going to give something away.
Just a way to give back a little bit for all the appreciation of hanging around, man.
I mean, you know how I do it. Hey, you never know. Maybe I'll have another comic book to sign. You never know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
stuff happens. For all you people that are backers of Mojo, if you did not go fill out your survey, go fill out your survey. I know you want those Mojo Crom comic related madness, one of a kind, only ever going to get a one time print. I know you do. That Pops bookmark, I know you want it. You got to go, kid. Fill out that survey, y'all. With that, Bill, always good.
Oh yeah.
Vic, oh man, you coming in right as we're leaving, bro. You can go watch the replay.
Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. There you go. Y'all have a good night. Peace. Oh, no, don't even want to go off. Go